Hello, 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 Chad. We are live with day number 7 of the Uzbekistan Chess Cup and हमारे सामने बहुत खतरनाक मैचअप्स आज होने वाले हैं। कल क्या ही सरप्राइजिंग डे था। रिचर्ड रैपो टेकिंग डाउन प्रग विद अ एपिक, आई थिंक द गेम ऑफ द ईयर सो फार, एंड नाउ वी आर बैक। आज प्रग का बदला हमारा अर्जुन लेगा। एंड नॉट टू फॉरगेट, वी कैन ऑलरेडी सी द गेम्स हैव बिगन। आई डोंट सी द मूव्स येट नीरी भाई, दैट्स व्हाई आई वाज अ बिट वरीड कि क्या सीन चल रहा है। वील हैव देम एनी सेकंड नाउ एंड वी कैन सी कि एक और स्पेनिश ऑन द बोर्ड बाय द प्लेयर्स। वेलकम चैट, एक बार स्ट्रीम लाइक कर दो और एक बार सबके सब हाजिर है दो भाई। कौन कौन यहाँ पे जल्दी आ चुका है बिल्कुल स्ट्रीम की स्टार्टिंग से ही, एक बार हेलो हेलो लिख दो। हाँ नीरी भाई। हाँ एरोज है, एरोज है, एरोज है। नो दे लाइक लॉस्ट, यस एक्चुअली ही मैनेज टू ड्रॉ दैट। बट बेसिकली हुआ क्या कि मतलब वो रूक बिशप एंड गेम में वो हार गए, एंड एज यूजुअल इट्स नॉट इजी। एंड आई थिंक आई कैन सी प्रग की 14 गुड मूव्स। आई मीन मे बी ही वाज प्लेइंग गुड मूव्स बिफोर कमिंग टू द बोर्ड। ये तो मेरी तरह बुलेट का लग रहा है, बुलेट खेल रहे थे क्या पहले वो, आई डोंट नो क्या सीन चल रहा है। वील गेट दैट फिक्स चैट। वेलकम चैट, एंड आज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट दिन है चैट। Not only are we going to see Uzbekistan Chess Cup Round 7, and ये वो उस मोड़ पे आके टूर्नामेंट रुक चुका है जहां पे यू कैनॉट गो बैक इफ प्रग लूजेस और अर्जुन लूजेस, और दे विल नॉट हैव अ चांस टू विन द इवेंट। लकीली फॉर देम नोदिरबेक लॉस्ट। इसका मतलब ये है राइट नाउ वी हैव 3 प्लेयर्स इन द लीड। इफ वी कैन हैव द स्टैंडिंग्स फॉर अ सेकंड, गेम पे तो आ ही जाएंगे। वी हैव अर्जुन, परहम एंड नोदिरबेक with 4 points in the lead. And of course, Pragg also within striking distance. Yeah, if he gets a win and ऊपर वालों का draw होता है, then you can imagine he can also win. Arvind, of course, very, very important game for him as well because वो bottom of the table बैठे हैं. Only Vokirov is behind. So going back to the game chat, super important day. And not to forget, आज शाम को हम वो भी stream करने वाले हैं भाई। It's going to be the Bullet Chess Championship chat. I hope you are ready for it. जहां पे हमारे पास we'll have Erigesi Arjun, we'll have Nihal Sareen and Mitra Baguha, 3 Indian players fighting it out against the fastest players in the world. Bhai. तो anyway, let's work to cameras and let's go to the board. फिलहाल के लिए Nepo with the white pieces against Pragg. बहुत ही जल्दी खेल रहे हैं। 134th मूव पे ड्रॉ हुआ, 36 पे। oh yeah, I know it's painful, it's very painful। अब Rook Bishop Endgame बहुत 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 इट्स ऑलवेज पेनफुल। जैसे मैंने पहले कल ही कहा था कि अगर ऐसा वो एंड गेम जाती तो वेरी लाइकली नो ब्लंडर्स दिस। सो कहीं ना कहीं पे मुझे लग रहा है कि या आई थिंक इट्स नॉट इजी एट ऑल। चैट वेलकम भाई। आज क्या दिन होने वाला है। यप, कस्पारोव ट्वीटेड अबाउट रैपोर्ट्स विन वाज जस्ट अ ब्यूटीफुल गेम। चैट कैसी फीलिंग आ रही है आज इंडियन प्लेयर्स के बारे में, बिकॉज आज कितना इंपॉर्टेंट दिन है। नॉट ओनली आर वी फाइटिंग फॉर फर्स्ट प्लेस हियर, ठीक है, वी आर ऑल्सो फाइटिंग फॉर अर्जुन इफ ही विंस ही क्रॉसेस फैबी एंड रीचेस क्लोज टू हिज कैंडिडेट स्पॉट। Pragg, if he wins, he reaches close to his candidate spot. Arvind ki bhi, stakes, बहुत high stakes hai. He cannot lose today. He's losing rating. Then we have the Bullet Chess Championship, jahan pe Arjun, Nihal, and we'll see Mitra Bhai as well. It's a super important match there. So aaj ka din is, I think, after Norway Chess, arguably probably the most important day in Indian chess. So बहुत exciting होने वाला है. And of course, right now, the game in front of us is Ian Nepomniachtchi against Pragg. Just to kind of quickly go through Spanish, the D4 center लिया, A4, and Pragg फिलहाल के लिए very well prepared and बहुत मजा आएगा। Hi, thank you यार, thanks a lot सुशांत भाई, but I think आज दो stream है and my throat is already a bit pain, it's in pain, so I think आज थोड़ा relatively low एनर्जी रखना पड़ेगा because we have to go a long long way। जब आपको मैराथन दौड़नी होती है तो you don't start like running like crazy from the first 100 meters, थोड़ा मेंटेन करना पड़ेगा। बट फिलहाल के लिए याद दिली भाई, बिल्कुल स्लो ही, दैट्स माय गोल, दैट्स माय गोल। देखो नेपो भाई कितना सैड है कि आज स्ट्रीम स्लो करनी पड़ेगी हमें, कितना सैड नेपो भाई, ये दुख दर्द हम समझते हैं नेपो भाई आपका। वो एनर्जी एनर्जी मिस करेंगे नेपो भाई। देखो आंखों में आंसू आते हो यार नेपो भाई। इट्स ओके, इट्स ओके, इट्स ओके। बुलेट चेस चैंपियन एनर्जी बचानी है आज, क्या कर सकते हैं नेपो भाई। चैट बहुत एक्साइटिंग है एंड आई थिंक ये ओपनिंग बहुत बार दोनों प्लेयर्स देख चुके हैं। प्रग की एक्यूरेसी अभी 98.4 है, बट आई थिंक इट्स ऑल ओपनिंग प्रिपरेशन। ही इज गॉन फॉर समथिंग ऑफ बीट बिशप D7, यूजुअली कम देखने को मिलता है। बिशप B7 कई बार जाता है एंड सो ऑन। एंड नाउ द क्वीन डिफेंस द रूक, सो AB5 पे कोई स्ट्रेस नहीं है प्रग को। एंड ऑफ कोर्स ये गेम बहुत लंबी चलेगी, सो लेट्स गो टू द अदर 2 गेम्स एज नेपो थिंग्स। आज तीनों इंडियन प्लेयर्स के ब्लैक है, सो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट मैच। एंड चैट, are you ready for this battle? Super important battle today. Pragg ka badla, and Rapport in his typical style playing these offbeat openings. दिस इज व्हाट ही लाइक्स, ये उनका स्टाइल है। आता है यहाँ पे C5, बिशप G2 एंड नाइट टू C6। कैमरा आई थिंक रिफ्रेश होगा नीरी भाई अभी, यप रिफ्रेशिंग द कैमरास एंड यू विल सी द करंट सीन्स ऑन द बोर्ड, जहां पे रैपोर्ट और अर्जुन अभी हाथापाई आई मीन चेस खेल रहे हैं। बहुत मजा आएगा भाई। सो बहुत मजा आएगा चैट, एंड नाइट 6 ऑन द बोर्ड, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग होगा। एंड यू सी अर्जुन नॉट एट द बोर्ड एज ऑफ नाउ, रैपोर्ट इज द वन टेकिंग मोर टाइम, बट हमने कल भी देखा रैपोर्ट ने बहुत टाइम लिया था ओपनिंग में, बट देन ही काइंड ऑफ स्ट्रक बैक, प्लेड सम फैसिनेटिंग मूव्स, एंड देन Pragg was struggling. So do not discount Richard Rapport at any cost. And ऐसी विन के बाद आई फील कि जो कॉन्फिडेंस बूस्ट आपको मिलता है ना, इट्स अनपैरेलल्ड। सो रैपोर्ट आज, he was lacking confidence yesterday because he was struggling in the tournament. Now he has a beautiful win जो Garry Kasparov खुद ने तारीफ करी ट्वीट करके। That's the kind of game he played yesterday with 99% accuracy. So I think कहीं ना कहीं पे अर्जुन के लिए आज बहुत डिफिकल्ट होने वाला है, बट अर्जुन इज अ मैडमैन वी नो, एंड ही सुपर स्ट्रॉन्ग एंड सुपर वेल प्रेड। सो मुझे बिल्कुल डाउट नहीं है कि अर्जुन बहुत तगड़ी फाइट देंगे। एंड यू नो व्हाट, दिस इज अ बैटल ऑफ टू वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग प्लेयर्स, बिकॉज रैपोर्ट को टेढ़ी मेढ़ी ओपनिंग खेलना पसंद है, क्रिएटिव खेलना पसंद है, एंड अर्जुन को बैटल कंफ्यूज करना पसंद है। सो क्रिएटिविटी प्लस कंफ्यूजन माइट लीड टू वन ऑफ द मोस्ट ब्यूटिफुल गेम्स ऑफ ऑल टाइम। सो वी विल हैव टू वॉच कैसे आता है। फिलहाल के लिए C4 ऑन द बोर्ड, पुटिंग द पॉन इन द सेंटर। डी पॉन नहीं चल सकते थे, पॉन मार देता, ई पॉन पे पॉन मार दो, C पॉन चल दिया है, एंड अर्जुन आई थिंक विद इन सेकेंड्स ही विल प्ले हिज नेक्स्ट मूव। बहुत बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट गेम बिटवीन दीज टू प्लेयर्स, एंड आई थिंक आई विल कम बैक टू दिस गेम प्रिटी सून। D5 by the way in the center played. Rapport I think will take that pawn in a second, should not be a big decision. Yep, he's taking that pawn on D5, and now I think knight takes D5 will be on the board in just a second. Absolutely. Now I think D4 आ सकता है, knight C3 आ सकता है, कैस of course D4 played, playing in the center, and अर्जुन का मुझे लगता नहीं है कि वो ज्यादा टाइम यहां पे लेंगे। So as Arjun thinks, one brief look at the Arvind game as well. Arvind के लिए कितनी इंपॉर्टेंट गेम ये है, I cannot stress this enough. His confidence is right now low, and D5 played. यूजली वाइट यहां पे कैसल करते हैं, मैं खुद ये लाइन खेलता हूं। पुराने जमाने में D5 यूज्ड टू बी मोर पॉपुलर, कस्पारोव जैसे प्लेयर्स D5 खेलते थे यहाँ पे, बट नाउ डेज कैसल ओके D5 ऑल्सो वेरी लॉजिकल, एंड नाउ अरविंद हैविंग हिज फर्स्ट थिंक ऑफ द गेम, ही इज चोजन द किंग्स इंडियन फॉर द सेकंड टाइम। दैट्स अ बिट रिस्की बिकॉज सिंधारोव ने एक्सपेक्ट किया होगा किंग्स इंडियन, दैट्स व्हाट ही प्लेड इन हिज लास्ट ब्लैक गेम। इसका मतलब सिंधारोव के विल बी वेरी वेल प्रिपेयर्ड टुडे चैट। It's so important. Sometimes that's the problem, right? If you are somebody like Arvind who's just reached the top, maybe your openings are a bit less flexible. I'm sure he has support from RB Ramesh and his other coaches for sure, but kahin na kahin pe, I'm pretty sure Sundarov would have expected the Kings Indian. So clearly Arvind really has faith in the Kings Indian, because he did actually lose to Noderbek crushingly in this opening. So hoping he has a new idea up his sleeve. So very important game for Arvind, but we're going to go back one by one to Pragg and then to, Arjun, because right now Pragg, if he wins, it's going to give him huge chances to, kind of seal his candidate spot by world champion. Chad, I have a question. मैंने पहले ही पूछा है, but would you prefer an Indian challenge Gukesh or would you prefer a non-Indian challenge Gukesh? I think बहुत important difference है. And if you want an Indian challenge Gukesh, I think Pragg is right now the best contender because he's so close to qualifying via the FIDE circuit. So I'm hoping कि यहाँ पे Pragg आज win करेंगे, वो भी Nepo के against, who's a very strong player, so that will give him a lot of confidence. So Nepo ने कोई चाल चली नहीं है, he's still thinking, maybe he's a bit surprised by bishop d7. यहाँ पे rook b8, bishop g4, bishop b7, all of these moves are more popular. Bishop d7 chat, यहाँ पे लगभग 700 गेम्स खेली गई हैं। 700 में से, just look at this, 700 में से सिर्फ 2 गेमों में बिशप d7 खेला गया है। Let me repeat that. Out of 700 games, bishop d7 was played in only 2 moves so far. That's the kind of, novel, not novelty, but a new weapon Pragg has kind of come up with. So we can see Nepo calculate. Maximum लोग कह रहे हैं, इंडियन कुछ लोग हिकारू भी कह रहे हैं, फैबी भी कह रहे हैं, एक बंदा नॉर्थ कोरियन कह रहा है। इस बंदे को लगता है, ज्यादा ही फेथ है ह्यूमैनिटी के ऊपर। बट फिलहाल के लिए I agree. I think even I would prefer an Indian because it guarantees an Indian world champion. So, मेरे हिसाब से Pragg has to qualify, and this could be the path to qualification. So let's hope so. He has a nice plan up his sleeve and कुछ interesting idea है जहां पे हम नेपो को confuse कर सकते हैं. And also Nepo is a player who doesn't like thinking too much over the board. So if you do manage to create a novelty, a new idea against him, he might hurry a bit as compared to other players who might take some extra time to kind of decipher your idea. So as Nepo solves this puzzle of bishop d7, let's go to the game of Arjun, jahan pe we are seeing Richard Rapport. अरे बाप रे, ये क्या होएगा वाह यार, ये मेरे को आई नो वैलेंटाइंस डे इज फार अवे बट सिंगल लाइफ की याद ला रहा है भाई, रानिया कहां गई? सो दिस वाज द पोजीशन, राइट? हाउ डिड द क्वींस गेट ट्रेड ऑफ? ओके, नाइट टेक्स d5, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight db4. By the way, we are still in mainline theory. Look at the, we'll have the accuracy. If we can have the accuracy for both players at the bottom, it will be amazing. So Arjun ki accuracy 100% so far, and Rapport is 99.9. तो भाई मतलब क्लियरली ये दोनों डीओ में जरूर जा रहे हैं. और यार नाइट वगैरह था यहाँ पे, नाइट टेक्स c6, क्वीन टेक्स d1 चेक, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, स्पॉइलिंग वाइट्स कैसलिंग राइट्स, एंड नाउ नाइट टेक्स c6 बैक. एंड माय क्वेश्चन टू यू इज चैट, ये एक एंड गेम में आ चुके हैं, राइट? क्वींस ट्रेडेड, ओके, नॉट एक्जैक्टली एंड गेम, बट यू गेट द आइडिया, राइट? इट्स सिमिलर टू एन एंड गेम नाउ, बिकॉज काफी सिमिलैरिटी है. पॉन के आगे पॉन, पॉन के आगे पॉन, पॉन के आगे पॉन, नो इम्बैलेंसेस एज ऑफ नाउ. सो विच साइड वुड यू प्रेफर? वुड यू प्रेफर व्हाइट? Would you prefer black? Super important moment hai, because Rapport going for this is very interesting, and now he could have taken and spoiled the structure, but वो knight develop करते हैं. मेरे हिसाब से black has already equalized, ऐसा मुझे लगता है. And if you check the openings, white does not have a great record here. I mean, around 60 games or so, and black seems to have an excellent record with majority of draws. For example, I think 70% draw यहाँ पे, 69% draw चल रहा है, 24% white win and 9% black win. So it is likely a draw. I would say white, of course, still should be okay, but I even prefer black because I think black your castling rights है. And white का castling जाने के बाद king c2 is not a square because of sometimes this check or this check or this check. So I think Rapport probably has huge respect for Arjun and his preparation, and he has not really challenged Arjun in the opening. ऐसा मुझे बहुत लग रहा है, and this is a great result for Arjun out of the opening chat. Whoever is winning, वाह भाई वाह वाह. आपके भाई क्या बोलूं मैं आपको भाई इसके बारे में भाई, वाह. तो रेस खत्म होने के बाद आप बेट लगाते हैं, ये बढ़िया है भाई. So फिलहाल के लिए I think Arjun should be very happy with what he has. Maybe his opening prep is already out of the waters now. And the only idea white has, I think, is, for example, मैंने bishop f5 खेला, you take on c6 and try to attack this pawn. But to be honest, bishop pair होगा मेरे पास, open position है. Look at the bishop cutting across. I think this is the kind of position जहाँ white could go wrong as well. So Arjun very, very happy with this position of the opening. He should be super happy, and he is likely to at least hold a draw against Rapport here. And उसकी accuracy आपको, अगर मेरी बातों में विश्वास नहीं है, उसकी accuracy से आपको विश्वास पूरा आ जाना चाहिए. आप थकते नहीं हो? बोलते थकता हूँ, बिल्कुल थकता हूँ भाई. अनाज थोड़ा एनर्जी बचाना चाहिए. थैंक्स फॉर द रिमाइंडर भाई. थोड़ा धीरे बोलना चाहिए मुझे आज, बिकॉज आज लंबी रेस का घोड़ा मैं भी होने वाला हूँ, बिकॉज दो स्ट्रीम्स है आज. फर्स्ट वी हैव द उज्बेकिस्तान चेस कप, एंड देन वी हैव द बुलेट चेस चैंपियनशिप. भाई मजा आएगा आज यार. आज का दिन चेस पैक्ड है भाई. इंडिया कल क्रिकेट मैच हार गई तो आज चेस कॉम्पनसेट करेगा. इंडिया हैज टू विन एवरीवेयर. So as Arjun calculates, one look at the Pragg game, Nepo has finally played bishop g5, which is apparently the popular move and the main, dangerous weapon for white here. And Pragg, of course, being prepared, plays rook b8 instantly. And now I think Nepo coming at the board. By the way, आज बड़े crisp suit में बैठे हैं Nepo, in his pullover sweater. तो आज पूरे, fully motivated लग रहे हैं आज. मतलब dressed, फिशर ने कहा था कि, you have to be well dressed as if you are a professional, like be well dressed during a chess game, and Nepo following that to the teeth. So meanwhile, one look at the Arvind game. If we have any updates there, no updates. And that's not a good sign if you ask me, because Arvind goes for the same opening, which he chose in his last black game. That gives white, a chance to prepare very well against Arvind. And now after move 7, he's thinking. So that makes me a bit worried. And I'm hoping ki, it's just kind of recalling what he's seen for his opponent in this line, because he should not be shocked by this opening by white, right? Because that's what Arvind himself played in the last game. So that would be a huge flaw in his opening prep, but I think he's calculating. Let's hope so. He comes up with good moves. And meanwhile, going to the game of Arjun again, जहां पे Rapport भाई उठ के चले गए. Arjun right now thinking, where do my pieces belong? Do I want to put the bishop on d7, avoid this damage to my structure, for example? Or do I think, bhai, this is not so important? I can even play bishop e6 or bishop f5 and not care about anything at all. And yeah, that should also be okay. वरी नहीं करना चाहिए टिकू भाई. अरे सहज भाई इन द चैट. सहज भाई कितने पॉइंट्स है, कैसे चल रहा है, रेटिंग का क्या सीन है अभी भाई? 2.5/3 अकॉर्डिंग टू मी कह रहे हैं भाई. भाई लेट्स होप सो शिवम भाई, इफ दैट हैपेंस. I want to see Arvind with advantage for few steps in the game. Why he always makes draw? I think Arvind का tournament अच्छा नहीं जा रहा है यार. I think it's pretty clear his tournament is not going well. So there's not much we can actually do here. I think all he can hope for is that he got that one lucky break actually and he messed it up. So hoping he can somehow win today. It will not be easy though. Will not be easy. Meanwhile, chat, Sahaj bhai in the chat. So Sahaj bhai ko good luck लिख दो, and Indian players को भी good luck लिख दो. And Arjun plays bishop d7. So that's a pragmatic move. He doesn't want to calculate कि भाई ये प्यादा कमजोर होगा तो क्या करना है आगे. Very very safe choice by Arjun. I think I वो कितना US I approve this message भाई. Nice move. And now Rapport of course will probably put the bishop to e3 maybe. Then he will have to bring the king somewhere. I'm not sure where the king goes because king c2 is definitely not safe. King e1 maybe, but then how do you free up the rook? Yeah. So I'm not sure exactly where the king goes. Let's see how Rapport plays this. Pehle bishop aayega for sure. Okay, he's hesitating a little bit. अभी तो बढ़िया ही है. डूइंग सम डीप प्रेप ऑन द बीच राइट नाउ. भाई टर्की के बीचेस पे ओपनिंग प्रेपरेशन कर रहे हैं साहज भाई. रिमाइंड्स मी ऑफ अ मूवी कॉल्ड ZNMD जहां पे ऋतिक रोशन भाई बीच बैठ के लैपटॉप लेके ओपनिंग प्रेपरेशन कर रहे थे. Sahaj is the Greek god without the Greek and the god. So फिलहाल के लिए bishop e3 played. So very good move. The rook will now come to c1. And I think the best plan could be rook c1, king c2. ताकि whenever you give this check, I can simply go back. And if there is bishop f5 check, I always have bishop to e4 and there'll be no hanky-panky. For example, let's say black plays यहाँ पे e6, just trying to show my plan. Rook c1, let's say bishop e7, king c2. And if, okay, there's no check anyways, but okay, let's play मैंने e5 खेला यहाँ पे. e5, rook c1, king c2, oh, bishop e7, king c2, knight b4, king b1, bishop check, and I simply have bishop e4, and there is no drama actually. Because ये drama नहीं चाहिए भाई. Sometimes this can be a problem. In fact, यहाँ पे ये भी काम नहीं कर रहा, but it can be an issue sometimes. Hoping Pragg will W today. Yes, hope so, bhai. Let's hope so. He does win today, chat. Look the stream. Let's get to 500 likes. Diamond Nem Bishop का इंतजार करती हुई on the other side of 500 likes. Pragg exposed king in the opening in Rapport and Param. He wouldn't have lost. Param usually gets crushed by Pragg. I think you can blame it on multiple things, but at the end, Param as well as Rapport played the better game. You have to agree. The games were complicated. And in those setups, somehow Pragg lagged behind. So, कुछ नहीं कर सकते. I think this is a mixture of some sort of, let's say Rapport and Maqsoodlu got their style of their position. This is kind of something like that. उनको जिस तरह की position पसंद है वही मिली, and that's why they crushed it. So Pragg of course will have to work on that part of his chess, but फिलहाल के लिए he has to align the games to his strengths. That's super important. And अभी तो he seems to be in opening prep, but Nepo still calculating already a 12-minute edge for Pragg on the clock. Now that's good news. But of course, as we have seen, कल Rapport भी कुछ 30 मिनट पीछे था. It didn't really work out that well. So let's see what happens. Well, yes, that's Ivanchuk in the background, bhai. Ivanchuk is playing this tournament in the second category, and he is a legend of the game as usual. You can see him play there in the background against, I think that's Mark Hun from China. एक बार वांचो का गेम देखना तो चैलेंज भी भाई यार. आई कैन शो यू दैट गेम एट सम पॉइंट, बट फिलहाल के लिए लेट्स फोकस ऑन द इंडियन प्लेयर्स. मुझे लास्ट में याद लाना. आई विल चेक द रिजल्ट. या ओपनिंग मूव्स तो यार ठीक है. आई मीन इवांचुक नोज दैट फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम. रैपिड मैच नहीं भाई, आज बुलेट मैच होने वाला है. आज होगा बुलेट चेस चैंपियनशिप. चैट ये स्ट्रीम चलेगी व्हेनेवर तक, 3-4 घंटे चलेगी. और उसके बाद वील हैव let's say 8 बजे चलती है, and then 9:30 p.m. tonight we're going to have the Bullet Chess Championship जहां पे Arjun again, the man in the frame, will have to play again. And पहले we will have Nihal's match and Mitraba's match. There you see it. Crazy matchups today. Nihal और उसका match पहले होगा. I think Nihal का match and Mitraba का match. Then we'll have Arjun's match, and it will happen later because, well, he's playing this tournament and he wanted some rest. So that's pretty fair. And फिलहाल के लिए Arjun has a very hectic day ahead because not only does he have to play classical, and he would love a quick draw, by the way. A quick draw for Arjun would be ideal because he has to play the Bullet Chess Championship not just today, but tomorrow, day after, and 28th as well. So for the tournament coincide karte hue, I don't know chat how many of you work two jobs. If there's someone in the chat जो दो नौकरियां कर रहा है, you can probably understand Arjun's dilemma right now, or even mine actually. मुझे दो stream करनी है. Ivan got to win. Yeah, I think he will. So Arjun right now contemplating how, like, where does this, like, where do the pieces belong? Where does the bishop go? Because bishop b4 would make less sense because rook will be on c1 and it would make less sense. Bishop c5 at some point is not possible. Then also, do I push the pawn to e6 or e5? Or do I actually want to play g6? Like, when I look at that move, that makes a lot of sense here. I don't commit my e-pawns because once you play e6, you block your bishop. Once you play e5, you weaken the d5 square. So these are committal moves. And maybe I can start with a move like g6, king c2, bishop g7, and I keep all options open this way. Maybe that's the pragmatic way to play chess, developing your pieces without committing to anything. Being a chandler, being in chess is really helpful. दूसरी गेम यार नेपो खेल नहीं रहा यार. ओके ही जस्ट प्लेड बाय द वे. सो नेपो वाज थिंकिंग फॉर लाइक as you can see 15 मिनट का लीड है प्रग के पास. Rook b8, 8x b5, 8x b5, and this is the current position. So as of now, no other moves. Nepo still thinking. And if you look at the Arvind game, oh, we have a few moves. d5, a5 played, very logical. You want to cement the c5 square for your knight. Aata hai bishop g5, h6, bishop e3. And this is very common, by the way. White puts the bishop on g5, forces black to go h6 and then bishop e3. And kai baar knight g4, bishop d2 bhi hota hai in fact. And it's all a plan to weaken the black king side. Sometimes knight h4 can come up later. Sometimes this can be a tactic. So multiple ideas. Bishop e3, knight a6, knight d2 आता है, knight g4 रोकते हुए, and now pawn to c6. So फिलहाल के लिए bar clearly favors white, but as we know, king's Indian में you cannot trust the bar. You cannot trust the bar as much. Apparently यहाँ पे knight h7 has been played, knight d7, knight c5, bishop d7, knight e8, queen e8, h5, c6, knight e4, king h7, rook e8. ये सारी moves इस position में खेली गई है. That tells you how complicated this position is. But as of now, if you look at the overall record on chess.com, 58% games from this position have ended up in a white win, 18% draw, and 24% black win. So white has a great record. And after this, it's 75% white win and 25%. I think that's a black win. So it's basically like a very good opening for white. So Arvind taking some risks here. Hopefully, hoping he white makes a mistake and gets a chance to win. But as of now, things look slightly grim. So meanwhile, no moves in the Nepo game, I think, so far. So going back to the Arjun game. And why are you focusing on the Arjun game right now? Because Arjun is in the lead, chat. He is in the lead along with Maqsoodlu as well as Nodirbek, who lost yesterday in that rook bishop rook endgame जो हमने cover नहीं करी थी. So Nodirbek loses, that means Arjun has a chance to catch up, and that's why Arjun की game super important है आज. Probably a main factor for who will win the tournament. His last opponents are both leaders, Arjun and Nodirbek. But of course, Param is also there, Jinal. So I think देखना पड़ेगा कैसा होगा. And of course, Pragg, if he wins, I think he will have a good chance. Like, it's not like Pragg doesn't have a chance to win the event. एक ही point पीछे है, as Nodirbek lost. That's super important. अगर Nodirbek जीत गए होते, 2 point आगे होते, there would be no chance for Pragg. But 3 rounds to go, I think there are some chances. I don't think Sindarov is too strong for Arvind. Arvind has a higher rating right now, Shiva. Of course, he's not in form, and that can happen to anyone. In fact, Rapport को देख लो भाई. He was equal points to Arvind till yesterday. And कल पता नहीं क्या हो गया भाई उसको, suddenly he came out of the blue and destroyed Pragg. So as we can see, these top players, it's more about, that one game that changes everything. So you never know when that game arrives. So just be ready and, play good chess. So Arjun about to play his next move. I am guessing it's going to be g6. Looks like a very safe way to play. And of course, man, I think I've praised Arjun's opening prep enough, but his understanding of where the pieces belong is just immaculate. There's no way this is his preparation, yeah. And to put the bishop on g7 just shows his class and his understanding of where the pieces belong. Why did you stop at being an NM? Bhai, I didn't stop, but कहीं ना कहीं में प्रैक्टिकल डिसीजन लेना है. व्हाट्स द प्लस साइड ऑफ बिकमिंग एन आई एम पर से? डज माई लाइफ चेंज सिग्निफिकेंटली? इफ नॉट, देन probably there's no point to chasing a goal which doesn't change your life much. And as Arjun, now his opponent thinks, let's have a look at the Pragg game. Jahan, by the way, Nepo has just made a slight mistake. सो चैट, ये पोजीशन आज तक 2 बार आई है chess.com पे. एक बार नाइट A3 खेला गया था, वाइट वन दैट गेम. एंड एक बार क्वीन D3 खेला गया था, ब्लैक वन दैट गेम. And that's what Nepo played. So that's not a good move from Nepo, apparently. And Pragg ne, if he has looked at games on chess.com, he would have seen this game. So that's a move he would have considered. And apparently, h6 here is the best move and the move that was played in the game. Let's say h6, bishop h4. And now even g5. And that's the crazy part. Now that we have transposed, we have 4 games here. 4 game mein se, I think 3 game black जीता and 1 game draw हुई. So black seems to have an amazing record from this position. h6, bishop h4, यहाँ पे g5 खेला गया है, ed4 खेला गया है, queen e7 खेला गया है, and तीनों moves में black won. That is amazing news. For example, let's say e takes d4, and now apparently c takes d4 मारा अगर आपने, और यार h6, bishop h4, e takes बार बार back क्यों जा रहा है? हाँ, and now g5 attacking this, and of course you sometimes want to do this, but this is not one of those cases because आपका king भी attack में है, knight takes d4 आ रहा है, that will be lost. So you put the bishop back and now g4 is the idea. And जैसे knight कहीं पे भी हिलेगा, I don't know where the knight goes, knight h4, I can simply grab this pawn. So has Nepo made a huge mistake here, chat? Because if I play h6, bishop h4 and e takes d4, apparently you can't take with the pawn. If you take with the knight, then knight e5 also looks very strong for black. So I think Nepo has made a mistake, chat, and Pragg's idea has worked. Pragg's preparation seems to have worked wonders. Queen d3, a mistake from Nepo, I think. It seems to be the case based on the engine evaluation, based on the opening idea, and also based on past games. Queen d3, a slight mistake from Nepo, I think. And now Pragg should play the best move h6 if he wants an advantage as black. Let's go, Pragg. Rapport was unbelievable yesterday. I agree, man. He was just brutal, bhai. 99 accuracy in that sort of crazy position jahan random piece sack ho rahe hain is insane. I think Stockfish would have been proud, yeah. Stockfish proud student hai, bhai. Rapport kal ki game ke baad. And chat, Pragg, I am pretty sure he has seen this. Exactly, bro. h6 played. And now Nepo's move is super important. If he really wants to, maintain equality, he should put the bishop back, I feel. He should admit कि भाई गलती हो गई, भाई माफ कर दो. If he goes to h4, I think that's a risky move. And for example, the best move after bishop h4 and e takes d4 is king to h1. I am sorry, but that's ridiculous, right? That's ridiculous. There is no way Nepo finds king h1. So I think यहाँ पे maybe the pragmatic way for white to play is to put the bishop back, defend the center pawn, and not allow black to go g5. Otherwise, Pragg is in the driver's seat. Pragg को नजर किसी की नहीं लगी भाई. अभी तो नजर नजर गाना गाएगा Pragg भाई after he wins this game. Right now, I think Nepo has made a mistake. Kasparov felt proud today. Salve, yeah, I know. I saw that tweet actually. कि क्या game थी Rapport की actually. Very impressive. Very impressive. And that shows you, right? So that shows you a very important detail, chat. If Rapport played every game in his life like that, जैसा कल उसने खेला against Pragg, he would be the world champion. He would be the GOAT. Like Magnus Carlsen would be proud of that game. So that tells you your chess skills and anything in life, right? Success in life in anything depends on your average or median level of play sometimes. Your extremes can be amazing, but if you really want to be, really, really strong, so you cannot have those bad days. So I think removing चाहे weight loss कर रहे हो, चाहे chess में better हो रहे हो, चाहे पढ़ाई में, you cannot have those days जहाँ पे you're just doing nothing. I think that's the lesson for life. You have to have a very good average and median as well, along with the extremes. Remove the bad days and you will do pretty well. And now h6 के बाद bishop e3 I would say is the pragmatic move. Bishop h4 I'm hoping for, because उसके बाद बोर्ड पे आग लगने वाली है भाई. भाई इस टूर्नामेंट गेम्स में आग बहुत जल्दी लगती है भाई. ये क्या है भाई? फायर डिपार्टमेंट को रेडी रखो. That's crazy. 99.5 accuracy by Pragg, and already he's ahead on the accuracy as well. Rapport king in danger. क्या बात कर रहे हो भाई? That was not possible actually. Wait, what? भाई ये क्या है? हेलो हेलो हेलो, कौन कह रहा था ये गेम ड्रॉ हो रही है? एक सेकंड सर, सर कैन वी गो बैक? सो दिस इज वेयर वी लेफ्ट इट राइट. जी वाज लाइक ठीक है भाई, ये गेम ड्रॉ होने वाली है. किंग C2. माय आइडिया वाज, आई थिंक व्हाइट को पहले रुक C1 खेलना चाहिए एंड देन यहां खेलना चाहिए ताकि ही कैन गो हियर, यू नो. बट ही प्लेस किंग C2 डायरेक्टली and Arjun plays the same piece twice. Now, chat, in normal cases, you should not play the same piece twice. You should put the bishop on G7, develop all the pieces first, उसके बाद ही खेलना चाहिए. But Arjun had a plan, but this was too tempting for Arjun. And now, king to B3. Look at this, chat. King B3, bishop E6. Apparently, E5 here was a very strong move, which Arjun apparently missed. But Bishop E6, and he's basically offering a draw to Rapport. कि भाई या तो अब King A3 आओ, which actually is the best move in the position and gives Rapport an advantage. I did not think कि भाई putting your king in front of your opponent's bishop can be an advantage, but here we go. Or he can go back and accept a draw. So this is Arjun's way of saying, भाई बुलेट चेस चैंपियनशिप भी रात को खेलनी है भाई, ड्रॉ कर लो. I think this is a way for Arjun to say, भाई, you know what? Okay, I see you might have a slight edge after king A3, but I can defend that as well. It's not a huge advantage. It's a tactical nightmare as well. And if you really want to draw, I am ready to draw very quickly. भाई chat, question for you. ये मूव देख के, ठीक है, गोइंग बैक फॉर अ सेकेंड, दिस इज द करंट सिचुएशन राइट. ये देख के, सो किंग C2 चेक, किंग B3, आपको किस शतरंज के खिलाड़ी की याद आ रही है भाई? विच इज अ चेस प्लेयर दैट कम्स टू माइंड आफ्टर यू सी किंग C2 एंड किंग B3? हिंट, ही इज मे बी नॉट द स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट प्लेयर इन द वर्ल्ड भाई. थोड़ा थोड़ा नीचे जाना पड़ेगा रेटिंग में. भाई देखो, रानिया बोर्ड पे नहीं तो किंग ने कहा आज मैं आजादी से जीऊंगा भाई. कितना शॉपिंग किया हूं वीकेंड्स पे, आज घूमूंगा. आज भी देखो रैपोर्ट क्या, भाई बिल्कुल रैपोर्ट क्या ऑन पॉइंट है भाई. 99.5. साहिल भाई फिलोसफर, अरे भाई फिलोसफर बन जाते भाई, बिल्कुल बनेंगे यार. अभीश मैथ्यूज, यस भाई, मैं सीओबी वाले की बात कर रहा था यार. सॉरी यार, आई थिंक कई लोग, डिंग वॉक क्या होता है भाई? I was actually thinking of Abish Matthews. Sorry if people had higher expectations of me. I'm really sorry, but Abish Matthew की याद आ गई भाई एक सेकंड के लिए किंग वॉक देख के. If Abish was here, चेक के बाद किंग A4 खेलता भाई वो, knowing him, and that's when you lose. जी हाँ अबीश, yes, exactly. समय नहीं, I think समय किंग देता है, but आराम से देता है. He usually teases you and then he gives the king. So chat, do like this stream. Let's get to 500 likes because आज super important दिन है chat. As you know, Arjun also has to play the Bullet Chess Championship and he has the black pieces. So he's basically saying to Rapport, भाई देखो, तुम्हारा किंग बाहर बहुत कमजोर है, मेरा बिशप वहीं देख रहा है, could be a tactical nightmare. Imagine chat, king A3 and I just remove this pawn. It's game over, I think. It's designs. बस ये pawn को जादू से गायब कर दो भाई और मैं गेम जीत जाऊंगा. यार देखो, अपना पॉन, आई थिंक इसके बाद पेटिशन टू डोनेट आवर ओन पॉन्स चैट, आई थिंक चेस में आ जाना चाहिए भाई. पेटिशन टू डोनेट आवर ओन पॉन्स आउट ऑफ द बोर्ड, खत्म, जीत गए भाई. हटाया, चेक, किंग A4 एंड देन A6 एंड B5 मेट. वाह, क्या फीलिंग आएगी भाई अर्जुन को. But yeah, I think of course Rapport will have to now be very sure. And it's an immediate statement, right? If he does play king A3, he's saying, I am playing for a win. So basically, Arjun को पता लग गया भाई, no draw. And then he will have to defend a long game. So Rapport को देखना है भाई, is it worth the risk? Do I have a chance to win this? Because chances बहुत कम है. So he might just say भाई king C2 bishop F5, let's go for a draw. It is possible. It is totally possible he just accepts a draw here against Arjun, who's doing very well. Max is not impressed. He is impressed, Shiva. But the thing is, he is the greatest chess player ever to exist on the planet Earth. वीनस और मार्स का मुझे पता नहीं, बट धरती पे, अर्थ पे, ही इज द स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट एवर. So his standards are high. Yeah? He's comparing the players to himself, and maybe Gukesh, Arjun, Pragg are not there yet. That's what he said, right? He said कि Gukesh is, he's doing fantastic, but maybe he's not the goat yet. Yes, 2700 chess means up super that means कि आप super GMO. And chat question for you, क्या लगता है कितने point आज Indian players बनाएंगे out of 3? Yesterday we got, I think it was 2 draws, right? We got 1 point out of 3. Day before we got 1.5. क्या आज हम 2.5 या 3 point मार सकते हैं? Vishy would Magnus and Kasparov. Magnus is better because Kasparov had obviously in good close positions. I think Vishy, I saw that clip recently, DC wise. So I think what Vishy said was Magnus is a more all-rounder player. I don't think he said Kasparov had weaknesses. Magnus was just a bit stronger, I think. So I saw that clip and was I think pretty perfectly mentioned by Vishy. I think he understands it, right? He has played so many games, hundreds of games against Kasparov, and probably close to 100 games against Magnus as well. So he can differentiate it better than anybody else. Will it Valency or best move? How does that impact? So if you play best moves according to the engine, your accuracy score goes up. If you play, bad moves, your accuracy score goes down. And the worse the move, the further it goes down, right? If you blunder mate in one, or if you make the second best move in the position, of course the difference will be there, right? कल तुम ही कहे थे रैपोर्ट हारेगा भाई. रैपोर्ट ने कल जो गेम खेली है कौन एक्सपेक्ट कर सकता था भाई? जस्ट इमेजिन द गेम ही प्लेड. लाइक Kasparov tweeted about it भाई. And chat, Rapport is in a critical moment right now. As we know, he has a draw in hand. By the way, wait a second. Like maybe Arjun is also not forced to take a draw, right? I can give this check, but I can also give this check, which is mildly is an understatement. Yeah, inconvenient. Now I don't want to come here because then there's another check. If I come here, that's another check. King c1, but my rook is now blocked. And bishop g7 आ रहा है, rook c8 आ रहा है. Like this is the kind of position जहां black could be better. So maybe Arjun is not really playing for a draw, chat. If king c2, he's gonna play knight to b4 and not really repeat. So now I think Rapport is even more stuck. He has to go king a3, I think. King c2, knight b4 is very, very, irritating to say the least. Yeah, you have to now dance around the king. Like Tera moving hai, and Rapport's most played piece so far is the king, which is not a good sign for any chess player. Arjun seems like a draw. I'm not sure it's a draw, yeah. I'm not sure it's a draw. So as Rapport thinks we can switch games, of course, but I don't think it's a draw. Meanwhile, chat, Pragg game mein bishop h4, queen d3, which so that's a mistake, I think, by Nepo. And now e takes d4 or g5 both give Pragg a decent position. I think e takes d4 is a bit stronger practically because यहाँ पे c takes d4, the logical move just doesn't work. g5, bishop g3 and g4, knight let's say h4, knight takes d4. Now white has compensation, but I think black is objectively better because black का king castle नहीं कर सकता यहाँ पे, so he's a bit stuck. But अगर आपने ये line खेली है as black, so you have to back yourself now to play the best move. So I think ed4 would be the best practical move in this position. g5 directly possible hai, bishop g3 and then knight h5. That's the second way to play. But I think I really like this ed4 move. Let's see what Pragg plays. And black ka record बहुत बढ़िया इस position से. 4 game आई हैं, 3 wins, 1 draw. Let's see if Pragg can get this win here. Super important game. Arjun will take draw as leading. I'm not sure Arjun का style allow करेगा. Now, I don't know if playing the BCC is on his mind. I don't think so. He will not really let that affect his decision. So मेरे हिसाब से तो if he has a chance to win, he will play for a win. Chat, I think if the leaders draw and Pragg wins, he's into the tournament. Absolutely, I think. 3 rounds to go still, chat. आज का मिला के. So still a chance of Pragg to win this. And position perfect है उसकी. It's not about -0.1 चंद्रकांत, because for example जो -0.1 आप देख रहे हो उसमें ed4 के बाद व्हाइट को किंग h1 खेलना है. I don't know about you, but I am not playing king h1 here. So you have to also understand कि भाई, how likely is it कि one side plays those best moves जो -0.1 है. For example, अगर आपने alpha zero के बारे में जाना है, how many of you know how alpha zero calculates? Alpha zero probability में calculate करता है. So for example, यहाँ पे -0.1 है, but there's only one move जिसकी वजह से -0.1 है. That's king h1. But alpha zero कहता है that's not really true. Because king h1 is the only move, there's a likelier chance कि white plays something else than he plays king h1. So the probability is higher that he makes a mistake, and that's why uski evaluation change hoti hai. And that's why Alpha Zero was at one point the strongest engine. So now, of course, they've adopted that technology into every engine, but kahin na kahin pe, I think the probability of King H1 is very low. If, Nepo has not seen this at home, which he has not. So इसलिए मुझे लग रहा है कि Pragg is slightly better here, at least practically. बाकी सब सही है, बट नेपो का टाइम कम कैसे है भाई, वही तो बात है ना. ही वी आर इन न्यू टेरिटरी, एंड इवन द फास्ट नेपो, द फ्लैश के सामने कौन सा बंदा फास्ट हो सकता है भाई. इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट. Where the player is going in the middle of the game, can you explain? So I think it can depend. You just want to walk in the tournament hall. कई बार ना थोड़ा सा mind fresh रहता है walk करके. You stay active. You can also go to the washroom. You can kind of eat something, drink something. Place का एक hall होता है अलग से जहाँ पे they have snacks. So that's what players do when they walk. You can see in fact जो पीछे वाला बोर्ड है वहां पे भी प्लेयर नहीं है, जो टॉप लेफ्ट बोर्ड है वहां पे भी खाली कुर्सी है. सो वो वाला प्लेयर भी उठा हुआ है टॉप राइट. so बहुत सारी खाली कुर्सियां हैं, एंड इसका मतलब जो लोग बैठे हैं उनकी चाल चल रही है. एंड उस टाइम पे, बिकॉज इट्स जस्ट द ओपनिंग, इट्स नॉट अ कॉम्प्लिकेटेड पोजिशन, देयर ओपोनेंट्स आर मूविंग अराउंड, जस्ट कीपिंग देयर माइंड फ्रेश. Why is Alan Pichot playing in the third category? I don't know what his rating is right now. Um, maybe his rating is higher. I'm not exactly aware कितनी rating है उनकी. But यहाँ पे सारे players grandmasters ही होंगे यार. Super strong players. So I'm not completely shocked. So going to the Arjun game, Appali Rapport has played chat. And he has gone for King A3. भाई Rapport, भाई कल से कोई तो मतलब क्रेजी हो गया रैपोर्ट के साथ भाई. Playing the best moves again and again and again. Very impressive, I have to say. Like, it's not easy to put your king on a3. Just want to show this was the position, by the way. King on d1. Now, king c2, check, king v3, check, and king a3. Not easy to go for this. What is rapport? So, rapport is a being, a part of the, क्या बोलते हैं, होमो सेपियंस, स्पीशीज. अगर आपने सुना होगा इनके बारे में, सो काफी स्मार्ट स्पीशीज का पार्ट है रैपोर्ट जी, एंड ही इज वन ऑफ द स्मार्टेस्ट अमंग द होमो सेपियंस. I think Nora's day 6 hours long game, 50 moves approaching. All these might have affected Nodubek yesterday. No, I think, but that position itself is very complex, Sakarbai. It's not easy to defend that end game. I know from experience, most players, like I would say 2 out of 3 games, I think the winning side actually converts that. Even in classical chess, Blitz Rapid में तो impossible ही है. But mostly the players do convert that somehow. It's very difficult. Yeah, that's Ivanchuk. If Arjun wins the tournament, will he qualify? Arjun, no, because Arjun piche hai, I think, in the FIDE circuit. So the only player who can kind of almost cement his spot if he wins is Pragg. But of course, Arjun ka benefit hota hai bhai, because if he wins the tournament, that means he's gained a bunch of rating points. And then he comes closer to Hikaru to steal his candidate spot. So that's the benefit for Arjun. Maybe he doesn't see it in this tournament. He can see it gradually. कल मैग्नस हार गया, किससे हारा भाई? चैट स्ट्रीम लाइक कर दो. लेट्स गो टू 500 लाइक्स. कोई कह रहा है +0.5 बेटर है. आई वुड से दैट्स अ बिट ऑप्टिमिस्टिक फ्रॉम वाइट. आई थिंक इंजन्स प्रॉब्ली कुछ क्रेजी देख रहे हैं. आई थिंक इट्स still pretty much equal. Like, I'll be shocked if Arjun loses this, because endgame hai, there are no queens, he's already fully developed. Bishop g7 khel sakte ho. I think the idea is rook a c1 castles, and like rook h d1, and white is a bit better for sure. But how much better is the question, right? Like, is it so bad? What if I play rook a c8? Do I have to worry here? For example, Injun keh raha hai b3 is the best move, but do you want to leave your knight like this? Because you can never really play king b2. That's risky, putting a king in a voluntary pin. So Maybe there is some play. Maybe knight a4 is the idea. That maybe is the idea actually. That is a bit, uncomfortable for Arjun to see. But knowing this, Arjun is also calculating all of this, and he will, of course, find the best plan. Yes, Hikaru likely will. No, Hikaru will not play the Grand Swiss, I think, because he doesn't need to. Uska candidate spot almost secured hai because of the rating. So he likely will not do it. By the chat, Pragg does not go for retakes d4. He goes for the other good move in the position, that is g5. And now bishop, of course, has to drop back to g3. And now Pragg is thinking. And यहाँ पे queen e7 is a good move. Kind of bring the queen into the game, defending e5. Knight h5, the best move, by the way, just played by Pragg. So it seems like he is still in his preparation. That's great news. Pani ki bottle number one already about to finish chat. 44 minutes into the stream, and Pani ki bottle number one down. भाई होमोसेपियंस मॉडर्न ह्यूमंस को ही कहते हैं। हाँ, मुझे तो पता ही नहीं था। ये क्या है? 9 साल के बच्चे से हार गया मैग्नस, तो अच्छी बात है ना भाई। बच्चे अच्छा खेल रहे हैं। या ही शुड एम फॉर द पोडियम, और उसके लिए आज जीतना जरूरी है यार। If let's say Parham or Arjun or Nodrbek win today, any of them, and if Pragg draws, then they will have a 1.5 point lead with 2 rounds to go. I don't think Pragg can surmount that somehow. So अगर उसको फर्स्ट आना है, आज जीतना कंपलसरी है। There is no other option he has. Because तीनों की तीनों तो नहीं हारेंगे ना यार। Like Param loses, Arjun loses, like Nodrbek loses, not gonna happen. तीनों तो नहीं हारेंगे। Yep, I'll be there for the community bullet chess. बिल्कुल सुयश भाई, आज लंबा दिन है मेरा भी. So भाई, if you like the stream, let's go. Ding will be proud of Rapport, absolutely. And अगर if Ding were to qualify for the candidate somehow, I'm sure Rapport will be his second. And chat, abhi bhi no moves from Nepo, who's 5 minutes behind. The only shocker is Pragg has taken a lot of time, like 15 minute ले लिए हैं. I don't know if that's intentional. Like he's like acting कि उसको पता नहीं है क्या चल रहा है. Because this clearly is Pragg's preparation, right? Clearly Sara preparation hai. He's playing, with 100% accuracy so far. That means कि either he's acting कि भाई मुझे पता नहीं है क्या हो रहा है, or he has not seen this recently. I am going to go with acting, chat. I think this is acting. Because I'm not completely sure, but could be just acting. Many players have done this, so it would not be a first. And now, chat, knight a3, the pawn on b5 is attacked. So now the only move for black is, okay, the best move for black is actually g4. And you attack the knight. And agar knight wapas jata hai, then you take on g3, h takes g3, and now e takes d4, you win a free pawn. So black ek pyada free ka jeet jayega. So that's not what white can do. So going back, after g4, white has to find bishop h4, attacking the black queen. The queen has only one square. Now f6 is possible, but let's just go for queen c8 now. Now knight to e1. And after e takes d4, apparently the best move is moving the queen to d2. And you could, teach me chess for 100 years and I would not find queen to d2. Because idea kya hai exactly? I mean, I'm guessing the idea is to bring the knight to d3 somehow and avoid 95 ideas, but it is not comfortable at all. But chat, the problem is, I'm going to ask you a question here, okay? Let's say कि ऐसी कोई position आती है. Let's go move back, in fact. ऐसी ed4 मारती है. Let's go with queen d2 as well. dc3, bc3. Which color would you prefer here? Would you prefer white or would you prefer black? Come on, chat. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है ये, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. अरे अभिज्ञान, नाइस भाई, ग्लैड टू नो यू वन द फर्स्ट राउंड, कीप विनिंग. I would say, even though black is better, where is the king gonna go? To me, it's not clear at all. Like, practically socho tum log. This bishop is cutting across the black king. This bishop is cutting all the way to f7. So I don't know how the black king feels about that. And the queen could automatically enter the game. I'm also pointing to h6. You can never castle. The rook has moved. You can't castle queenside. And जब भी मेरा knight d3 आएगा, and if I break with e5, you are basically busted. So कहीं ना कहीं पे मुझे लग रहा है कि प्रग की प्रेपरेशन बेटर बी डीप, एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई सी मैक्सिमम लोग वाइट कह रहे हैं. आई एग्री विद यू. इफ बोथ प्लेयर्स आर इक्वली वेल प्रिपेयर्ड, वाइट शुड बी द चॉइस आई थिंक फॉर मोस्ट प्लेयर्स, बिकॉज वाइट का किंग अभी के लिए एटलीस्ट सेफ है, एंड ब्लैक का किंग सीम्स टू बी स्टक. लुक एट द क्वीन ऑन ऑकवर्डली ऑन प्लेस ऑन c8. वो एक्स्ट्रा पॉन फील ही नहीं हो रहा भाई अभी. So I hope Pragg's preparation goes very deep. Otherwise, I think this might again be a position जहां पे we've seen Pragg struggle in complicated positions जहां पे Rapport ने outplay किया, Param ने outplay किया, and now again that's exactly what we have. So, and that too against Nepo, by the way. So I'm not sure if that's the best deal, and Pragg should be very well prepared to manage this game. Will not be easy at all. So yeah, Pragg, as he calculates in some, I would say not trouble exactly, but in a very complicated position. So let's go to the game of Arvind for a second. कुछ हुआ कि with a lot of moves. 9 d2 c7 last देखा था. g4, by the way, best move by Sindarov. Knight d7, h4, knight c5, h5, bishop d7, and this is the current position. We are already in new territory, but as of now, white does seem to be better, chat, because f5 completely रोक दिया यहाँ पे. I can even take, open up the h file, as you can see. So, but black also has his own play. Yeah? It's not a one-way street. Knight on c5, very active. Not sure about this knight, but maybe has a future later on. Maybe knight b4, knight d3. But overall, white better, but it can also turn around because white का king अभी पता नहीं है कहाँ जाएगा. It's not clear whether white will make it to the queen side. Because queen c2, there is knight b4. So you have to be a bit careful. So very dynamic position. Arvind slightly worse. And now going to the Arjun game. जहाँ look at this. Yeah, I love this from Arjun. यहाँ पे कई लोग बहुत जल्दी कर देंगे, and Arjun taking his time. He's not hurrying, even though this position is looks very simple. GM मैग्नस जी मुझसे सवाल पूछ रहे हैं. ये दिन भी देखना पड़ेगा. कहीं सोचा था कि मैग्नस सवाल मुझसे पूछेगा, why is 95 a mistake? I think what you're banking on is knight c4 check. What if I just play b3? आपका सारा प्लान चौपट हो गया, एंड नाउ आई एम थ्रेटनिंग बिशप b7. आपको वापस जाना पड़ेगा, एंड यू अचीव नथिंग फ्रॉम दीज टू मूव्स. आई गॉट b3 एंड नाउ रुक c1. टू मूव्स मुझे वैसे भी खेलनी थी. So that's why I think knight e5 is a bit. It can work in blitz and bullet chess. Maybe bullet chess is perfect, but in classical chess, I don't think so. That will be a big mistake. अगला इवेंट फॉर Pragg, by the way, next event actually आज से स्टार्ट है बुलेट चेस चैंपियनशिप. अर्जुन प्लेस देयर along with निहाल एंड मित्रबा. एंड उसके बाद ओवर द बोर्ड अगला इवेंट है जीसीटी जागरेब, जहां पे मैग्नस कार्लसन हमें खेलते हुए दिखेंगे फिर से. Pragg will be playing that, and Gukesh will also be playing that. So it is going to be incredibly fun to see how Magnus and Gukesh battle each other yet again. And this time in Rapid and Blitz, जो Magnus का strength माना जाता है, तो Gukesh के लिए बहुत tough challenge. And so for Pragg as well. इवांचो क्या खेल रहा है भाई? चेकर्स. भाई चेस ही खेल रहा है भाई. Classical to bullet transition Arjun. I know. And bullet chess, the thing is, even if you get knocked out, you are still supposed to play at least on 2 days. तो आज और कल तो उसको खेलना ही पड़ेगा. तो that's interesting. Will it affect his other games? I don't know. It will be a lot of fun for sure. Bullet chess में बताएगा. And chat format bullet chess का यही है. 30 minutes of bullet chess, and whosoever has more points qualifies to the next round. And winners bracket है, losers bracket है. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. Do we have the? अच्छा, we won't have the वो ग्राफिक नहीं for वो जो चार्ट फॉर बीसीसी ना, वो शायद होगा नहीं हमारे पास इस वाली स्ट्रीम पे. बट आई थिंक वी नो द फर्स्ट राउंड ओपोनेंट्स. आई थिंक निहाल इज प्लेइंग. आई कैन लेट यू नो हु निहाल इज प्लेइंग. हु आर हाँ, मैं बताता हूँ चैट को. सो चैट, आज वी हैव निहाल अगेंस्ट एंडी वुडवर्ड, एंड वी हैव अर्जुन अगेंस्ट टुआमिन ले, एंड देन मित्रवा अगेंस्ट वो जो यंगस्टर है, अर्ड अर्डोगमस, जिसकी मैग्नस ने तारीफ करी थी. सो आई थिंक एंड ऑफ कोर्स देन नेक्स्ट राउंड भी होगा, विनर्स का आपस में होगा. सो इफ निहाल विंस ही माइट प्ले एंड्रयू टैंग, एंड इफ अर्जुन विंस ही माइट प्ले डेनिस लाजोविक. सो ऐसा कुछ तगड़े मैचअप्स होते हैं बुलेट में. By the way, apparently Pragg has played, and he has played castles. What? Chad, that's what I told you, right? Like, I think it's not easy to play these complicated positions unless your prep runs way deep. And I don't know if my engine is weak, but as of now, castle is the third preferred move here, and that's not a good move. G4 was the best, knight g3 second best, and castles was the third most preferred move. And now white can just grab the pawn on b5. So I'm wondering what Pragg's plan is after Nepo just takes the pawn. Is he going to attack on the king side? Is there a potential attack? Let's say I play knight g3, h g3, queen f6. Do I have enough counterplay? h5, h4, king g7, rook h8. Is there something for Pragg? There is something, but is it enough compensation for this? I'm not sure. Because white is a pawn up right now, chat. निहाल विल बीट टैंग, लेट्स सी. एंड अर्जुन ऑफ कोर्स लाजिव भी बहुत स्ट्रांग है, टैंग भी बहुत स्ट्रांग है. सो बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग मैचअप्स होंगे बुलेट चेस में. एंड ही इज आल्सो वेरी स्ट्रांग, वी नो. यस, बुलेट चेस इज ऑनलाइन 3 AM इन IST. वाओ, नहीं नहीं भाई, 9:30 PM इन IST भाई, नॉट 3 AM. 3 AM कौन स्ट्रीम करेगा यार? नो ऑफेंस बट 3 AM कौन देखेगा? 3 AM सिर्फ कैंडिडेट्स या वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप चल सकती है यार. You know what? Sometimes losing games hurts more than losing the whole tournament. Though winning a tournament is more sweet. I think if you win the tournament, you can look past the loss, right? You can say, कि, okay, ठीक है, it was one loss, two losses. I won the event. That means I played the best chess in the tournament. You can kind of move past that easily. But if you lose the event, you did not play good games, then of course it hurts a lot more. थर्ड प्रेफर्ड मूव तो गुड होती है, मिस्टेक क्यों यार? बिकॉज कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है ना. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ यू आर प्लेइंग अ वेरी वेरी नॉर्मल पोजिशन विद नो अटैक, नो वीक किंग्स, नो टैक्टिक्स, फर्स्ट प्रेफरेंस थर्ड प्रेफरेंस में डिफरेंस बहुत कम होता है. बट इफ यू आर प्लेइंग अ शार्प पोजिशन लाइक दिस, जहां G5 ऑलरेडी ऑन द बोर्ड है, फर्स्ट और थर्ड में बहुत डिफरेंस हो सकता है. मेरी चैट, अरे मैग्नस की चैट कैसे नहीं दिख सकती यार? Jet Pragg right now looking a bit nervous. Two losses in a row. Can he strike back today? And Ajna, Nirva, can you have all the five boards for a second? I want to show you something. By the way, knight we have taken by Nepos, so he has grabbed that free pawn. All the five boards, white is apparently better. Look at the eval bars. All the five boards, white is better right now. So आज white का दिन लग रहा है, and surprisingly तीनों Indian player black है. Not looking great, bhai. Not looking great for Indian players, but okay, the games have just begun. Going back to the Indian boards, and अरे मैं भी आ गया. Hello hello chat, yo what's up? And meanwhile हम नजर मारते हैं अर्जुन की गेम में एक बार कि क्या चल रहा है वहां पे. No moves by अर्जुन still. That is सब फुल चलते हैं नहीं भाई. लेट्स गो फुल फुल करते हैं भाई. 50% की भाई, फुल फुल कूपन कोड चाहिए मैं. 100% डिस्काउंट. Arjun's still not playing. Yeah, the position isn't that complicated, but still taking so much time. I think his understanding of the potential problems 10 moves from now is very, very, like correct. Like he's able to understand कि आगे जाके position problem हो सकती है. Why Arjun is pretty second? Because he's not played that well and he's not played enough tournaments. I think Tata Steel, Pragg जीते, GCT, Pragg जीते. So Pragg has won a bunch of events जहां से points अच्छे मिले हैं, and that's why he's leading the FIDE circuit. No, Srivatsa, we did not stream till 10, right? We will only stream the Indian games. So very unlikely कि we have a game like that जो इतनी लंबी चली. तो I think we should be good to go. I wouldn't think कि 9:30 तक गेम चलेगी. I think खत्म हो जाएगा 8 बजे तक. And then we can go to the Bullet Chess Championship at 9:30. Yep, बिल्कुल सही अभिषेक भाई. World Cup is I think 31st October या 1st November whatever to 27 November, and when you 99% Goa है. I think Goa is awesome यार. Beaches होंगे, गर्मी होगी, वरना इंडिया में ना नवंबर में नॉर्थ में इतनी ठंडी होगी ना, like it will really suck your energy a little bit. So I think I like the fact कि it's not really in North India. Delhi तो of course would be horrible during that time. Which place will I find? I think हर दिन एक ना एक बंदा पूछता ही है. So chat, I'm going to ask you to predict the 8 players for candidates. मैं तो रोज करता ही हूँ. So who do you think will be the 8 players to qualify for the candidates? By the way, chat, look at this. Arjun playing the best move in the position right now. That's the power, right? That's what I love about Arjun. Like even in such positions, जहां पे you might feel कि, it's not so necessary to find the best move. He does. And the idea is, let's say I play a normal move, yeah, Rook H D1. You E5 check is already dangerous for Rapport. So E5 threat is a huge threat here. And now White has to play B3. And if E5 check, King B2 and Bishop G7 पे block नहीं हो रहा है. And so that's the problem for Arjun now. कि check देने के लिए इसको E pawn push करना है. And that's not easy because I don't want to play E6 check because इसके बाद ये bishop trap हो रहा है. I don't want to play E5 check because now I can't check on this diagonal. So maybe Rapport's king is pretty safe because of that dilemma. But after B3, instead of E5 or E6, Black can actually play a beautiful move, chat. So question for you. After Arjun's move, Bishop F5 on the board, let's say Rapport does play the best move B3. What is Arjun's best move in the position? Come on, chat. Who can find it? Yep, दिल्ली में तो पागल हो जाएंगे भाई. I think I'm going to fall sick for sure. And I live in Delhi, so I'm pretty sure बाहर के players तो बीमार होंगे ही होंगे. It will be a nightmare in Delhi, I think, November. नहीं आपको नहीं मिला है भाई. अरे nice, the end gamer. Hikaru, Fabi, Pragg, Arjun, Anish, maybe. Anish, yeah, I would love to see Anish qualify. I think that will be amazing. Not Bishop G7, chat. There's a better move. There's a beautiful move here. Not Knight B4, but you're close. You're close to the actual idea, bhai. Luca G, very close. Luca G, wow, wow. Yes, GM Magnus. No surprises. The guy with the name Magnus finds the best move. It is Knight D4. It looks like a free knight. First of all, the threat is Knight C2, 4 king, rook and king. So you can't ignore this. If you do take, now E5 check. King B2, E takes D4, attacking the knight, very important. Let's say knight E4, I move the knight. Now rook D8. And somehow, black is actually better here with the bishop pair. So Arjun, Rapport playing for a win with king A3. Arjun playing for a win with bishop F5. So this is a match of equals who are not ready to take an equal position either way. By, Rapport cooking Arjun, Arjun cooking Rapport. Super sharp game, yeah. I love this. It means equalish endgame में they are trying to find the best ideas. I love this. Fabi, Hikaru, Pragg, Arjun, Anish, Nodubek, Adidas. I think 7 लोग हैं ना, एक पेंडिंग है. Fabi, Pragg, Arjun, Hikaru, Nodubek, Adidas, Anish. I think 7 बता रहे हो तुम लोग, एक पेयर और पेंडिंग है. But chat, Rapport now under slight pressure. So B3 ke baad knight D4 is incoming. And if you, for example, play rook a C1, getting out of this check, now black can apparently just play rook B8 and you still can't take this. So this is a constant threat. Okay, you can, but now E5 check, king D2, A takes D4, knight B5, and now D3 apparently is a very strong move. If you take, I give this check, and again, these two bishops. भाई रैपोर्ट के बिशप ने कल प्रग को बहुत तंग किया था. आज अर्जुन के बिशप रैपोर्ट को बहुत तंग करने वाले हैं. So and this also means, but why it is threatening this, so it's a very complicated position. Like it could go wrong for either side. For example, if you try to come to A3, then I think black can castle, and this king on A3 is a bit uncomfortable. आपने मारा यहाँ पे rook A8 wins the knight, game over. So कहीं ना कहीं पे बहुत tactics है यहाँ पे, even without the queens. टिक्को भाई इज क्वालिफाई फॉर कैंडिडेट्स, बिल्कुल भाई बिल्कुल। आई थिंक फरीदाबाद के या हरियाणा के कैंडिडेट्स में मैं क्वालिफाई जरूर करूंगा। एट्थ इज टिक्को भाई, थैंक यू थैंक यू थैंक यू थैंक यू भाई, थैंक यू। वी विल वन लुक एट द प्रग गेम, कुछ हुआ है क्या? नो मूव्स बाय प्रग स्टिल, एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई एम वरिड। I think his prep ran out. He thought castling was the best move, but it wasn't. Castling is the human move here, but once you go for such a complicated line, you know, ideally you want to know a bit more about the position. Where does the king belong? And right now, Pragg under slight pressure because अब time पे भी नेपो आगे आ चुके हैं. This is where your own prep sometimes can work against you. And we again have a very complicated position. And I hope Pragg can strike today because Nepo right now is looking decent. Arvind, by the way, while look at Arvind, I think knight b3 आया, exchange the knight, c takes d5, knight takes c5, knight takes c5 आएगा, and then of course white will take on d5 with something, not sure what he takes with, but as of now Sindharov भी slightly better against Arvind. So फिलहाल के लिए the tournament not going in Pragg and Arvind's favor somehow. Last two rounds have been kind of sad for both players, hoping that they both strike back today. Black pieces की आज उतनी अच्छी positions नहीं लग रही. So going back to the Arjun game, the only game जहां पे position is roughly even here we are slightly worse, but यहाँ पे थोड़ा बचाना easy लग रहा है because it's kind of an end game now. वाह, आज तो मेरी तारीफें चल रही है भाई, रेयर ओकेजन्स। अर्जुन द बिशप जी7 द नाइट e5, यार बिशप जी7 ठीक है, बट राइट नाउ द किंग इज ऑन ए3, राइट? जब तक किंग ए3 पे है, आई वांट टू कीप दिस ऑप्शन ओपन। यू नेवर नो कब चेक लग के मेट हो जाए भाई, यू नेवर नो। सो जब तक किंग यहाँ पे, लेट्स कीप द बिशप ऑन f8, कुछ भी हो सकता है यहाँ पे डायगोनल पे। Pragg still 50%, but Arvind is -2. I know exactly. I think Pragg started off very well. So Arvind का tournament तो और बेकार जा रहा है. But Pragg, of course, यार, he will be disappointed, right? Because Pragg technically, Arvind तो अभी ऊपर आया, so he can at least say कि okay, maybe one bad tournament. Pragg, of course, deserves to be at the top. Has been there for the top for a long while, so he will be equally disappointed, I feel. एंड लूजिंग टू इन अ रो इज जस्ट पेनफुल भाई। आई डोंट केयर चैट। तुम बताओ, तुम जब भी चेस खेलते हो 2-3 गेम लगातार, चाहे बुलेट की भी हार जाओ ना, तो बड़ा दुख होता है भाई। अपनी पूरी सेल्फ वर्थ पे क्वेश्चन करने लगते हो तुम लोग। World Cup should have been in Kolkata. Fiza hai poti. I'm not sure why Kolkata actually. I actually like Goa. Yaar. I think Goa would be nice. If the players come to Goa, they can enjoy. And जितना players enjoy करेंगे, उतना chances है अगली बार भी इंडिया में tournament होंगे. So Goa, I think, is the best destination. I think it's a place meant for tourists. And I think that's best. And I know कुछ taxi का कुछ issue चला था गोवा में recently, मैंने सुना, but players will not face that issue. So मेरे हिसाब से I think Goa is amazing. Pragg is in a vulnerable position that can collapse any moment. I agree, all you want. And what Pragg really wants right now is for an attack on the king side because he's a pawn down. एंड कहीं ना कहीं पे सेंटर में प्रेशर तो है, बट G5 खेल चुके हैं and it's not clear, like, do I want to play knight f4, which is a bad move apparently? Do I want to take on g3? Do I want to play queen f6, but c7 could be weak? Do I want to somehow take on d4? Do I want to play king g7 grows a spin? Do I want to play queen e7, queen f6? इतनी options है ना, king h8 getting out of the paint, like इतनी options है and easy to go wrong. व्हाइट ने तो मस्त पॉन मार लिया, व्हाइट ने कहा पॉन मेरा हो गया, तुम अपना देख लो भाई. So full pressure, Nodovik, by the way, also better against Param Maksudlu. That's good news, by the way. कि both the leaders playing each other, तो एक लीडर तो पीछे रह ही जाएगा, या तो ड्रॉ होगा एंड बोथ ऑफ देम गो हाफ अ पॉइंट ahead, then Arjun can catch up, और एक लीडर हार जाएगा and then only one goes ahead. So that's good news for Indian players here. But at least one of them has to strike or at least get a draw. So Arjun, of course, has the best chance and still no moves from Rapport. So भाई दोनों प्लेयर्स अमेजिंग चेस खेलते हुए. Pragg going down. Let's hope not. Let's hope not for now. I think right now the position is still salvageable, and I don't think he's under huge pressure. But just signs मुझे दिख रहे हैं after castles, it's not nice. Salvage. Some people say that during Magnus' time there was no good player to defeat World Championship. I disagree. I think Magnus was at his absolute peak when he played, like, against Vichy, against Karyakin, Caruana. and Nepo as well, in fact. I think he was just the strongest player by far. But was there a player like who was as strong as Magnus? Maybe not. But it was possible to beat him in world championships because of opening preparation कर सकते थे. Like Vichy defeated Magnus in the second time he played in a game. Then Vichy also missed a few chances, right? He was winning in a couple of games. Then Karyakin also defeated Magnus. If you look at how well Caruana played, they drew all the 12 games or 14 games, whatever it was. So सारे games draw हुई and रैपिड में जाके मैग्नस ने हराया. So वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप में मैग्नस को हराना पॉसिबल था. But as a player, I think he would still be the stronger player. There's no doubt. Pragg cannot lose today. I agree, Rashmi. I really hope he doesn't lose today. Super important day for all Indians, by the way, not just Pragg. Arvind, if he loses, I cannot imagine. Yeah, matlab, he will go from world number 9. What he's world number 20 now. He was world number 9. If he loses, he'll be world number 25. If he loses or something like that, like world number 24, just above with it. That's gonna hurt a lot. Like the point is like he will lose like what 20, like 15 rating points in 3 games. That's really sad. Fabio making 40 against Magnus. Yeah, I remember that. Remember that. Fabio was very close to beating Magnus as well. Magnus also had his chances somewhere. So that was very close, by the way. And we can see Yakubov, the star from yesterday, who defeated Nodebek, looking at the game. Rapport still not playing. He has more time on the clock, so nothing to worry, of course. Meanwhile, Nazar Marte hai Pragg ki game pe. If he has played, chat, I'm going to be honest. I am really worried about Pragg's position now. Really, really worried about Pragg's position now. Because इतनी complicated position है, and there's a huge difference between the first preference of the engines, the second preference, the third preference. First preference is plus 0.3. Second preference is plus 0.5. Third preference is plus 0.7. So you can see, and he plays a second preference and now attacks the knight. Good move, I think, by Pragg, a practical move. Now you can play knight g6 and then bring one of the knights to f4. I love that move. And now knight will drop back to a3, I think. That is the only move. Now he will continue with knight g6. So that's a good sign at least. But the problem I feel is, what about knight c4? यार ये बिशप चला गया ना, तो I think Pragg's attack really goes down the drain. It's going to be very difficult to attack without the bishop on b6. So uh, good sign, 97, but he's taking a lot of time. So let's see how Pragg navigates this position. Nepo, by the way, has to find knight a3. Otherwise, I think this could be a problem for Nepo as well. So going to the game of Arjun again. Has Rapport played? Still no moves by Rapport. Caruana in his peak is better than Magnus Classical. I disagree. I disagree. I think Caruana at his peak was close to Magnus average. Yes, very close. I think maybe like 5 points different, maybe even equal. But I don't think he's better than average Magnus. No, not really. Like Carlson dhota hai yaar. Like dhota hai sabko bhai. Like his reaction to Levy's question, do you think you ever thought that there was somebody close to your level? And he says, no. Like it's not coming out of ego. It's the fact. Fabi's peak is not 2844. Is it a 2851? I think it's 2851 if I'm not mistaken. Like Kasparov is 2853. Fabi is 2851 if I'm not mistaken. Do correct me if I'm wrong there. And chat, Rapport still not playing. मेरे हिसाब से तो चल देना चाहिए अब. And of course there is one option just taking this knight, right? That's the safe option. कि भाई no more drama, no more hanky panky. But you also lose the bishop pair. That's your pride and joy, putting pressure on that diagonal. So taking on c6 is admitting ki bhai, you know what, I'm not so confident in my position. So maybe bishop c6 is not the best move. I think b3 ही खेलना पड़ेगा. If Rapport really has faith in his position, कि I am clearly better, I think he will play b3. But it's not easy. Arvind gave away all his accumulating to Uzbeks. But that's a wake up call for Arvind then, right? Like he has to work on his chess further. Like you cannot say कि मैं नहीं खेलूंगा strong players के साथ, because Right, it might not happen right now. It might happen in the Olympiad next year. It might happen in the World Cup this year. So kabhi na kabhi hoga. It might as well happen now when the stakes are lower. So that's great. When Nepo ने गलती करी क्या भाई? Maybe he has made a mistake. Let's check it out. Chat करिए. Let's see. Nepo ने क्या खेला भाई? क्या गलती करी? Oh, Bishop C4, a slight error by Nepo. एंड इफ यू रिमेंबर चैट, कल बिशप सी फोर प्रग ने भी यही गलती करी थी, बिशप सी फोर, दैट वॉज द लूजिंग मूव जब बिशप सी टू आया था. दैट्स अ गुड साइन एक्चुअली. एंड आई थिंक द प्रॉब्लम कुड बी कि जब भी ये नाइट एफ फोर पे आएगा, you will have to move the queen, and in that case this can be hanging. That's why moving the knight back was prudent. So knight g6 now, a good move for Pragg. Maybe there is hope for Pragg. Come on, bhai, knight. I think knight g6 to khel hi dega. That's the most obvious move. I'll be shocked if Pragg doesn't play knight g6 here. That's just very logical. Nobody was stronger than Magnus after he became. I agree, Umkar bhai. I think Magnus has been the goat. And you know what? I have wondered about this. What's the secret for Magnus? Like, why is he so strong? I was about to tweet it once, मैं delete कर दिया. पता नहीं why mood swings. But the point is, I think Magnus का secret था. He was of course talented, yeah, just like any Indian youngster like Noderbek, Gukesh, Pragg, Arjun. I think he got to work with Kasparov for a couple of years. If you search the time when Magnus went from world number 4 to world number 1, that was exactly when he was working with Kasparov. It aligns perfectly. So that's my understanding. Maybe to get that leap, right, to get that jump, you really need to enter the mind of a former GOAT or a former player who has done it. So even though that partnership ended in a couple of years, I think Carlsen really must have benefited from understanding from Kasparov himself. That's why I think maybe if, let's say, Carlsen decides, ki, bhai, you know what, I'm going to coach Pragg, I'm going to coach Gukesh, I'm going to coach Arjun, maybe that might be the filling final nil in the straw. But the night just played a Pragg, great move. गौरव भाई ज्यादा ही मजे ले रहे हैं आज. अच्छा फैबी, अच्छा 2844 है फैबी. गॉड. नो नहीं भाई, ऐसा था. यू कैन मैच इट. I have actually seen this before. Ki when he became world number 1, he was actually working with Kasparov. So फिलहाल के लिए chat, knight g6 played, and one of the knights is going to come to f4 at some point. The only question is, do you want to kick the white knight away or not? That's very important decision because that can be helpful. You can weaken the d4 point, weaken the control over e5, and white को भी commitment करनी है. How do I handle this? Because knight f4 is coming at the right moment. Rani मुझे हिलानी पड़ेगी again. I don't want to ideally move my queen, right? It can be a problem. So फिलहाल के लिए chat, Nepo under some pressure. I think bishop c4 could really cost him, and now I think it's time to go to the other game. Magnus is an anomaly for sure, but मेरा point ये है कि I think maybe one of these Indian youngsters could also be the anomaly. We just don't know it yet. They are very young. And if they could get help from Magnus, for example, or Kasparov, for example, I do think that might be the final straw, like, to push it to world number 1. But Filal ke liye chat, going to the game of Arjun, has Rapport played? Chat, this is very interesting to me. No moves by Rapport still. इतनी डेड ड्रॉप पोजीशन लग रही थी ये 4 मूव पहले, एंड बोथ प्लेयर्स थिंकिंग फॉर 10, 15, 20 minutes. Both players super ambitious. I'm really impressed by Rapport as well as Arjun in this game. They have really challenged each other, put pressure on the opponent. Doesn't matter रानियां चली गई, लड़के लड़के फाइट करेंगे भाई. That's crazy. I'm really impressed by both players in this game. Rapport continuing from very left yesterday, and Arjun, of course, just how well he's done this year, last year, amazing. Magnus is like Messi. Yeah, but Magnus, Messi wouldn't be Messi without proper training, right? So that is also an important part. And let's assume Gukesh is the God-gifted talent, right? If he could learn from Magnus, that's only going to help, right? It'll only elevate his performance. So I think if Magnus, for example, takes one of the youngsters under his wing, I think maybe that he could be the next GOAT. That's my understanding, at least. बाय द चैट फिलहाल के लिए रैपोर्ट स्टिल थिंकिंग, and I don't mean कि गोट 4 दिन बाद होगा, I mean like in a couple of years. I think that was and I thought that was understood. Like 2 years of coaching with Magnus, I think could possibly turn you into a goat. Like that's what I meant. Not like कि 10 दिन coaching कर ली तो बन गए Magnus. Anyways, फिलहाल के लिए chat. So Rapport still under pressure. One look at the Chidambaram game. Knight c5, cd5 and rook c8. So I think यहाँ पे knight d5 was a bit stronger instead of cd5, but okay. And maybe Arvind is a little bit back in the position because white का king भी safe नहीं है. I think Arvind's opponent is facing the same problems that Pragg was facing earlier, but Pragg solved them now. And कहीं ना कहीं पे it's not an easy decision. Where do I put my king? If I try to go queen side with queen d2 and यहाँ पे b5 is very very strong, and suddenly black is better. So I think Arvind's gamble of playing the King's Indian might just work here, and maybe A4 then stopping B5, but then where do you put the king? I think you'll have to go to G2 then, maybe. Maybe that's the plan. So pressure on Sindarov a little. You can see it on the clock as well. 12 minutes behind, and still no moves from Richard Rapport. Who is the best chess player who never became world champion? यार पता है there are old players of course, like you know there are many players. I think Rubinstein एक था, and there are many others who did not become world champion, but I'm going to stick to the players who've played in the last 20 years. Among them I think it's Caruana. Like for me at least, players whom I've observed myself, I think it has to be Caruana. Sheba, I don't know if you've followed Magnus before he worked with Kasparov. So I think all I'm saying is like working with Magnus will improve their level regardless. And maybe that was Magnus's final secret, final twist in the tail to turn him there. Okay, we can only speculate. But as of now, going to the game of Pragg, जहाँ पे knight से बाद Nepo under some pressure here. Yeah, Magnus might prefer Pragg though. I know he has a good relationship with Pragg there. So if he has to choose someone, he will likely choose Pragg. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I think he can choose Pragg. We want to see that difference. So does working with Magnus create an impact? I think it will. Hikaru as well, yes, but I think Hikaru, he doesn't play as often. If Hikaru played as much as Fabi plays, if he played so many events, would his rating still be the as high as it is right now, right? Because Hikaru plays Norway Chess, World Cup, like the strongest tournaments in the world, right? If he played some other events, would his rating be as high? I'm not convinced. So maybe Hikaru is more of a creator plus player. So I would choose Fabi maybe. Fabi has been world number 2 on average over the last 10, 20, 15 years. I think Fabi would be world number 2 if you count the average of ratings. Levon also very close, I think. Levon also, I think, is a great contender. So why Magnus will coach some? Why did Kasparov coach Magnus? That's the question, right? You want to kind of continue a legacy. So if Magnus does well, Kasparov knows, I contributed to it. It's a good feeling. And meanwhile, chat, Nepo still under pressure. No moves yet. He is right on the clock, so no worries right now. By the way, Queen D2 played by Sindarov. That's a big mistake. सडनली चैट मैंने आपको 15 मिनट पहले सारे बोर्ड साथ में दिखाए थे. White was better in each and every game by a huge margin. And suddenly the tide is turning. First of all, Pragg की गेम में black is slightly better. Then Arvind की गेम में black is already equalized after b5. And you cannot castle on the queen side. That will be game over. B4, knight b1, and knight b3 is literally mate. It's literally mate. That's how bad it can be. So you cannot castle queen side, and इसका मतलब कि सिंदारोव ने बहुत बड़ी गलती कर दी है क्वीन d2 के साथ. Arvind is back. Who would have edge between peak Magnus and Fischer? If Fischer could have the same age, the same energy, access to engines, then it's hard to choose. Otherwise, Magnus. So chat फिलहाल के लिए Arvind back in the game, going to the game of Arjun has Rapport. भाई Rapport तो चल ही नहीं रहा है. इतना खतरनाक पोजीशन है क्या? Salve Hikaru said in Norway that in terms of pure chess, Pragg stands out to him. You know, Anushka, maybe he feels that way. That might be true, but there's also that competitive spirit, right? In that tournament, आप खुद देखो, गुकेश खेल रहा है, अर्जुन खेल रहा है. सो कितने प्लेयर्स अपने ओपोनेंट की टूर्नामेंट के दौरान या अंत में तारीफ करेंगे? बहुत कम. एक वो competitive नेचर होता है प्लेयर का. सो प्रग वॉज द ओनली प्लेयर नॉट प्लेइंग. सो दैट्स एन ऑब्वियस आंसर आई थिंक. सो कहीं ना कहीं पे इफ आई एम प्लेइंग अ टूर्नामेंट और मुझसे मेरे ओपोनेंट के बारे में पूछोगे, तो इतनी तारीफ तो मैं नहीं करूंगा ना भाई, मैं भी नहीं करूंगा. सो आई थिंक दैट्स जस्ट ह्यूमन नेचर दैट. Maybe he feels that way. That could be possible. Also, a bit of like recency bias there, I think. Ivanchuk is playing in a different category chat. Like there are three categories here. Indian players masters में है तो हम वही focus कर रहे हैं. But Ivanchuk, you can see him play in the background there. And Rapport, by the way, under some pressure, even though the position is very simplified, as of now, both players have some chances. The white king on a3, you can see, yeah, e5 check is possible. Can be harassed quite a bit. And अभी वापस जाने का कोई रास्ता नहीं है. So if a check happens, it could be dangerous for Rapport. So that's why you see him calculate very carefully. Chat, I'm gonna do a challenge for you. Are you ready? ठीक है? If you're ready, let me know. Show some love for अनीस की तो लव ही लव है भाई उसके लिए. फेवरेट प्लेयर भाई. अनीस सरकार को प्रेस क्यों नहीं किया? भाई अनीस सरकार तो भाई, I mean he's 4 years old. I mean he's 4 years old भाई. यार तुम मजे दे रहे हो मेरे. 4 साल का बच्चा है, he's already 16 से rated. भाई क्या तारीफ, और क्या तारीफ करूं भाई उसकी. There was rating inflation earlier, Plague, and now it's rating deflation. And that's one of the reasons Magnus is not on 2900, I think. So if we had like at 1.10 players of 2800, now we only have two. And we barely do hai. Magnus was like 2889 at one point, literally. So what's wrong with knight b5? See, knight b5 is over ambitious. e5 check. Now, if king b3, the logical move, I can just play rook c8. And you can never come to the c file now. There'll be a discover attack winning the game. So if you try to play a3 and go back, bishop e6 check. And you have to now come to a4. I'm not sure about you, but I don't want my king on a4 right, as white. So Rapport has to be extremely precise if he wants to not get mated or just lose the game. And Arjun also, by the way, b3 by the best move. Arjun also has to be precise and play knight d4. And that's a tricky move because free ka knight lag raha hai, but then there is e5 check and I get the knight back. So as the cameras melt, अभी आ जाएगा वापस कैमरा ऑफ कोर्स. आई एम गोना स्विच ताकि फिक्स हो जाए. या भाई रैपोर्ट इतना सोच रहा है कि कैमरा मेल्ट होने लगे. बाय द वे, डी टेक्स e5 played by Ian Nepomniachtchi. He's simplifying in the center. He senses कि भाई pressure build up हो रहा है on the king side. I should simplify. And of course, he's technically winning a pawn on e5 if we observe clear. For example, मैंने knight से मारा यहाँ, knight bishop जिससे मारा, knight से मारा, pawn से मारा, bishop से मारा, I win a free pawn. I am 2 pawns up now and completely winning. So after d takes e5, Pragg should not take this. Pragg should either take on g3 and then play g4, or just directly play g4, kick this knight back, then take on g3. Let's say white takes, I don't know, by the way, queen h se to maar hi nahi sakte chat. Knight e5 is winning. Queen e2, knight c4, queen c4, and just bishop b5, queen b5, bishop f2, winning the queen. So this could be a big mistake from Nepo here. So now I think Pragg has a sequence of moves. Let's have a look. Ye current position hai. First, he has to play g4. Kick this knight. Knight e1, best move. Now he has to take on g3. Pawn takes is not possible because bishop pins. H takes, loses on the spot. As we saw, H takes, loses on the spot. After knight takes e5, knight takes e4. So queen se marna padega. And now queen to g5. And slowly but surely, h5, h4, Pragg is actually launching a very scary attack on the Nepo king. So मुझे लग रहा है Pragg has a beautiful position right now if he can find g4 and then knight takes g3. Come on, Pragg, take your time. This is the critical moment. If you can play these two moves, I think you will have a great chance to win this with black. Not only maintain your chances to win the event, and also potentially seal your candidate spot. So let's hope so. He can do this. So Pragg now will be a critical. He will take his time, I'm hoping, and not hurry on this move. Very important moment. And apparently Rapport has played. So let's have a look. क्या खेला उन्होंने? Rapport ने, by the way, he has gone for the safer choice. Chat. He did not want to see knight d4 as a move. उन्होंने bishop से knight मार दिया है. Pawn takes c6, and now this is the position. So this position is, I would say, roughly balanced. Maybe white is tiny bit better because एक कमजोर pawn यहाँ पे है, but this is very easy to defend for black. Yeah, black has a light square bishop, so can be easily defended in any sort of endgame. But of course, white is maybe slightly better. बोलते ना ऐसे हल्का फुल्का, मतलब पराठी और रोटी का डिफरेंस है, रोटी की जितना फुल्का डिफरेंस है भाई, स्लाइट डिफरेंस. Pragg seeing it. Let's hope Pragg sees that. And chat, let's get to 500 likes. जल्दी से stream like कर दो भाई लोग. आज दो stream होने वाली है. First of all, we're going to have the Uzbekistan Chess Cup जो चल रहा है अभी, and then we'll have, you know, the Bullet Chess Championship as well, जहां पे निहाल अर्जुन मित्रबा खेलेंगे. So फिलहाल के लिए going to the game of Arvind, जहां पे B5 has been played by Arvind. Huge update. He has completely equalized. And now, chat, if anybody is better in this game, it is Sindarov. In fact, look at the clock. That should give you a sign who's better. An hour almost for Arvind, and only 45 minutes for Sindarov there. So full pressure on Sindarov. Arvind, could this be the game Arvind has been looking for a long time? This could be the chance to take home that full point here. Super important, chat. And meanwhile, chat, as we wait for the games, we can have a look at the other game as well. That is Pragg. Has he played? No moves. I think that's a good sign. For the first time, I think Pragg should think. He should not hurry at all. This is the critical moment. This is the moment jahan pe if he can find the best moves, he might just win the game or outright. So let's see if he can do that. G4, as we saw, knight e1, and then knight takes g3. As we saw, h takes is a blunder because knight e5, queen e2, knight c4, queen c4, bishop b5, queen b5, and bishop takes f2 check, rook takes f2, and goodbye apni rani ko. बहुत डिफरेंस है बिटवीन पराठे एंड रोटी ऑफ कैलोरीज. हाँ भाई, डबल है भाई, डबल है, बिल्कुल डबल है. And meanwhile, chat, going to the game of Arvind, has there been a move? No moves in the Arvind game, no moves in the Pragg game. And finally, we go to the Arjun game and wait for Arjun. By the way, Arjun has played, and knight a4 played by Rapport. Chat, very interesting. So, if you look at the evaluation now, it shows plus zero point 0.5. And as you play it, it goes down slightly to plus zero point 0.4. So maybe the engine is over evaluating. In fact, plus 0.3 ho gaya ab. The engine is slightly over evaluating white's advantage. And I think knight a4 is a very tricky move. The idea is, if you give e5 check, I'm not going to play king b3 because rook b8 aa raha hai. I'm going to lose this game. The idea, I think, is the clever bishop c5 by Rapport. And इसका आइडिया है कि मुझे आपके पास बिशप पेयर है, मुझे बिशप पेयर रिमूव करना है. एंड दिस इज अ वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट स्ट्रेटेजिक डिसीजन. Whenever your opponent has the bishop pair in an open position, जहां पे pawns are not closed, right? Look at the bishops cutting across the board. You should exchange one of the bishops because automatically your opponent की bishop pair advantage गई. That's a great plan. And now black could take knight c5. Black can castle. And I think this position is still roughly equal. Why? Because the king can easily defend these two pawns. For example, अगर rook c1 खेलते हो, I also have rook to d2. So black is not lacking activity here. Rook h1, for example, and king c7. मैंने king से pawn बचा लिया. And I don't think Arjun is worse here. Maybe the knight is slightly better than the bishop, but it's not something decisive, I feel. So मेरे हिसाब से Arjun is doing fine, but nice move by Rapport and nice idea कि e5 के बाद he's gonna play bishop c5. And I'm not sure if Arjun has a better move than e5 here. It's not clear to me. I think e5 खेलना ही पड़ेगा because bishop c7 खेलते हो, then I can play the rook to c1, and then slowly but surely this pawn can be a weakness. I'm not ready to defend it. Like I can't. I want to castle queen side. Because if I castle king side, chat, the king is far away from the battle. A7 pawn pressure में रहेगा, C6 pressure. I want to castle queen side here ताकि king आराम से दोनों pawn बचा सके. So critical moment for Arjun as well. Don't celebrate too early. भाई celebrate कहाँ कर रहा हूँ? Celebrate करा तो मैं तो भाई चिल्ला रहा था अभी. Someone to show a video the rise of Arvind. भाई या तो इस टूर्नामेंट से पहले करना चाहिए या वेट करना चाहिए भाई. दिस टूर्नामेंट इज डेफिनेटली नॉट गोइंग वेल फॉर हिम. आई एम रियली cheering for him because he's been a underrated player for a long time. And if he can kind of maintain his rating, even gain rating, India could have 4 players in the world top 10. उससे better क्या चाहिए यार. So Arjun, in a crucial moment in the game, I think he has extra time on the clock. That's great news. But he has to, I think, find E5. Meanwhile, chat Pragg की game पे अगर हम जाएं, this is, I think, an even more critical position. You know, Arjun could survive that even if he makes a slight error. But this cannot be a moment where Pragg goes wrong. He has a golden opportunity to play G4, kick this knight back somewhere, take on G3, queen takes G3, and now bring this queen into the game. For example, you can't even take on D6 because bishop B5 loses the piece. The queen defends the bishop. So black ka task bada asan hai. Next he's going to take on E5, then H5, H4, and then knight F4. And you can imagine ki bahut tagda attack lagta hai. Just to show you the idea, let's say white king H1, D5, king G1, H5, king H1, H4, already almost trapping the queen. In fact, knight F4 भी आ सकता है. You can see how bad this is. Let's say H4, queen E3 खेला मैंने. Oh, queen क्या bishop है यहाँ पे. मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ? Queen is already trapped. Queen D3 खेलना पड़ेगा. Then knight F4 आएगा bishop मार के. So कहीं ना कहीं पे this is very, 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 very scary for white. So मेरे हिसाब से Pragg has a great chance to attack if he can play the next 2 to 3 moves very well. Vidit is still better than Arvind. Yeah, it's hard to compare. Yeah, I 2 players, I think. It's very hard to compare. Vidit played spectacularly well. By the way, he's taken on G3 directly. No G4, and that's a good move. Can he play G4? He has! Pragg has played G4, chat. Apparently, the idea of playing G4 first was कि knight f d4 पे there was d takes e5, which was quite strong. But Pragg ने उल्टा किया and Nepo plays this. So now if d takes e5, there is knight f5, and that's the difference, and now white is winning. So Pragg को अब knight से मारना पड़ेगा. That's why g4 first was apparently slightly better. Move order things, let's not go too deep into it. But now if you take, I think knight f5 is very strong. So he takes the knight. Good move by Pragg. Knight fd4, knight takes e5, and Pragg is slightly better. Queen e2, only move for Nepo to defend the bishop. He plays it instantly. And now, chat, it's time for Pragg to launch an attack. Let's go h5, king g7, and slowly prepare h4, rook h8, and an attack on the h file. ये bishop star piece है Pragg का, because it blocks this f pawn. No path for white king to escape. अगर h file खुल गई, there'll be a huge attack on the h file, and white could go down. Nepo's going to hold this one. It's not going very. I mean, he could hold this one, but as of now, things are going great for Pragg. That's a good sign, right? Things going well for Pragg. Magnus was qualified for number 1 California, but he didn't like the format, so he withdrew. He's doing the same on the day. I mean, maybe, but I think at the end, us time pe he had a lot to prove, right? Now he's already proven everything, so now it makes more sense. Nepo भी किसी से कम नहीं. अरे भाई हमने कब बोला कम है भाई? हमने बोला क्या भाई? 3 टाइम कैंडिडेट्स खेल चुके हैं लगातार, 2 बार जीते थे, 2 वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप खेल चुके हैं. So of course Pragg now has to find h5, king g7, and slowly prepare an attack with h4. I think ये plan होना चाहिए. So meanwhile, going to the game of Arvind, has something happened, and you can see Sindarov still not able to come up with the move, chat, because he doesn't have an easy idea here. 37 minutes to play 23 moves. It's already huge stakes for Sindarov. Arvind in the driver's seat. And now going to the Arjun game as well, जहां पे Arjun has still not played. So waiting for Arjun, what will he play? I don't see option. I think bishop e4 is one option to attack the rook, but that only helps white develop a piece. I mean, doesn't feel like the correct way. Maybe bishop d5 could be the idea. Ki I want to give e5 check now, but I can just play b3 again, e5 check, bishop c5, and I don't see the point. I can always kick the bishop back with f3 and e4. So मुझे लग रहा है कि Arjun has to play e5. That's the best plan. Rapport is not slightly better. I would not worry, chat. By the way, h5 played by Pragg. Amazing move. Putting on the pressure, and it's great that he's also managing his clock pretty well. Not wasting time while he knows the move. And now, chat, the entire premise is जब भी attack launch करते हो ना, your queen needs to be in the game. एंड क्वीन का बेस्ट स्क्वायर यहां पे आई थिंक H4 है. सो ऑटोमेटिकली यू नो कि अगली 2-3 चालों में मुझे H4 खेलना ही है, या तो डायरेक्टली या फिर किंग G7, रुक H8 एंड देन H4. सो H4 तो आने वाला है, नेपो को भी पता है, एंड ही कैन नॉट रियली डू मच अबाउट इट. या आई थिंक व्हाट डज ही डू अबाउट H4? Not much to be honest. ही हैज द F5 स्क्वायर दो. एक चीज ध्यान रखना चैट, एक चीज यहां बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. अगर प्रग अगर प्रग का अटैक काम नहीं किया, लेट्स मेक दिस वेरी क्लियर, इफ प्रग्स अटैक डज नॉट वर्क, नेपो विल स्टार्ट अटैकिंग. ये चीज भूलना नहीं. सो दिस इज नॉट अ गेम विच इज अ वन वे स्ट्रीट. राइट नाउ इट मे सीम दैट वे, बट अगर गलती से अटैक काम नहीं किया, देन वाइट कुड स्टार्ट डिस्ट्रॉइंग प्रग एज वेल. सो मेरे हिसाब से प्रग हैज टू बी precise to maintain his advantage and launch an attack which will be difficult to hold off. As of now, Pragg doing a fantastic job. Accuracy dekh lo, 98.1 versus 96.1, doing pretty well. Chat, let's do a challenge. 271 likes. अभी बच रहे हैं 528. अगर अगले 2 मिनट में हमारे 550 लाइक हो गए तो एक बंदे को मेंबरशिप भाई, जल्दी से भाई, जल्दी से इंस्टेंट मेंबरशिप भाई. सो आई एम गोना से 1 2 3 नाउ पे लाइक बटन सब हिट करना. 1 2 3 एंड नाउ लेट्स गो भाई, साथ में. If I was selected as a world challenger, how I will score zero. Yeah, this is not how about it. I mean, if I'm playing the top players of the world, maybe I will score. I will score zero. Likely, I will score zero, bhai. And so will anybody below, I think 2,500. So that's not going to happen. Nepo was the top during World Bliss Championship matches, I think. Maybe he did. Yeah, you're right. Maybe yeah, similar top. But यहाँ पे draw नहीं होगा. ये game बहुत attacking game है. Both players have chances to win. Meanwhile, chat, look at the Arvind game. Has there been moves? No moves by Sindarov. So good news for Arvind fans. And another look at the game of Arjun. Have we seen something? No moves by Arjun as well. So both, Arjun, I think, is taking this very seriously. He also can play H5, H4, by the way. Like that is the plan, potential plan. But I think E5 seems to be the main move for Arjun here. Wow, so smart. Thank you. Appreciate it. Interesting. All the blackboards are doing well except for Abdul's game. Yeah. I mean, Noderbek, of course, and by the way, E5 played by Arjun, the best move again. I mean, क्या बंदा है भाई, like ये चेस का गेम नहीं है भाई, ये एक्यूरेसी का गेम है भाई. दोनों प्लेयर्स भी लाइक मेरी एक्यूरेसी ज्यादा हायर होगी भाई तुमसे ज्यादा. By the way, Rapport दूसरी बॉटल लाते हुए E5 check, and of course chat, the only move for whites is to play knight or bishop to C5. Knowing कि black के पास bishop pair है, I think bishop C5 makes a lot more practical sense to put that bishop there. But both moves are possible. You cannot play B4. A5 wins for black. Khatam. Bye bye. And you cannot play king B3 because rook B8 is extremely dangerous for black. So bishop C5 or knight C5, one of these moves. Yeah, bishop C5 made a lot of sense. Even though Indian prefers knight C5, I think bishop C5 is the logical human move. You want to exchange the bishops. Arjun takes it instantly. The best move again, knight C5, and now he should castle. Chat, very important principle. Oh, he plays king E7. Ooh, that's a bit tricky. I thought he will castle. Usually, okay, this king can still defend the pawn, so that's good. But usually, जब भी rook endgame आती है ना, this is super important, yeah. Any rook endgame, if you have pawn weaknesses like this, you want to keep the king closer to these pawns. Why? The idea is कि rooks should be active. Rooks are supposed to be active pieces. You don't want a scenario जहां पे आपके rooks ये प्यादों को बचा रहे हैं. That's what you don't want. So the king closer to these pawns is the perfect square. So king e7 is okay, but king c7 would be better. ठीक है, ये भी okay है. But now chat question for you. Another question. ठीक है. Why do you think white is tiny bit better? What is the factor that makes this slightly better for white? Come on, chat. कौन बताएगा? Arjun claimed the back rank for action. Absolutely, bhai. Okay, that sounds a bit wrong, but okay, yeah. What do you think, chat? What is the main reason rapport is slightly better? What do you think the reason is? अर्जुन कह रहा है बेटर, काहे का बेटर भाई? मैं पता नहीं, मैं खेल रहा हूँ 100% एक्यूरेसी से. Chat, the idea is first of all, I think ये pawn थोड़ा pawn से थोड़ा सा disturbed है. Like if the pawn was here, I think it would be much simpler. And second is because of this pawn, I think the knight has a comfortable square on c5. So this knight is slightly better than the bishop purely because of this weak pawn island. If I could kick this pawn knight away with b6, I think the bishop would be absolutely fine. But because of this pawn, इस knight को लात मारना बड़ा मुश्किल है. Agreed, Chad. You're absolutely correct. This isolated pawn really makes black's task difficult. So if I just exchange rooks, I think the endgame might be slightly better for white. Lekin, black has the bishop, and he has the option of moving his pawns to dark squares. So it's not a lost position even there. But of course, white will have a clear plan. White's king is slightly more active, so black को थोड़ा on point रहना पड़ेगा. And maybe exchanging both rooks might not be the best idea. So Arjun has to be slightly more careful than rapport, let's say, because king on a3 is now pretty safe actually. There is no way to attack this king anymore. And that just makes it slightly more vulnerable for Arjun. So as rapport plays, one look at the Pragg game chat, जहां पे h5 के बाद Nepo is still calculating. I think it's pretty clear Pragg right now is putting pressure on his king. And knight a3, by the way, the best move just played by Nepo. Getting out of these tactics, right? हमने देखा बहुत बार bishop b5 and then some tactics were happening with bishop to check. So now there are no tactics and his is maybe a bit more free to move if it wants to. But of course, chat, question for you. What should Pragg play here? I think simple plan है. We want to play h4, so we can play h4 directly. और we can play king g7 and next we can play h4 कि हमारा रुक ready है h8 पे आने के लिए. Or we can next and then h4. So h4 is our plan. That is the goal. So my question, let's say king g7 खेला मैंने, and let's say white plays, I don't know what white plays actually. That's not a good question. Let's say bishop d5. And now h4. So what is white's defense? It's not clear. Apparently knight c4 is the move. Exchanging this active knight or the bishop, one of these pieces, for that passive knight on a3. And let's say knight takes c4, bishop takes c4, and now rook h8, and still somehow it feels like black is the one putting pressure, right? And now you have to play e5 as the only move, and white is really treading on thin ice. So I think Pragg in the driver's seat, but if he wants to win this, he might have to, let's say, confuse Nepo a bit. Like direct attack, maybe Nepo is prepared for. घुमा फिरा के भी अटैक करना पड़ सकता है. साल भाई चेस कमेंट्री के आकाश चोपड़ा है. अरे आई डोंट नो दैट्स अ कॉम्प्लीमेंट और एन इंसल्ट भाई. आकाश चोपड़ा को इतना फॉलो करता नहीं हूं, बट ओके. I'm going to treat it as a compliment. By beauty lies in the eyes of the Akash Chopra. Meanwhile, chat going to the Arvind game. White has played f3 and now b4 played by Arvind very quickly indeed. And now this is extremely difficult for Sindarov, because the best move is actually knight b5, which is not easy to play because queen b6 ke baad it feels like the knight is trapped. Then you have to play a3, b takes, and now knight takes a3. And you can't play knight b3 right now because the knight is pinned, but after queen d8, that is a threat. And that means you can never castle on the queen side. So knight b5, not a super easy move to play, would require more calculation, and that means कि भाई और time सिंदारोव का जाने वाला है. इंसल्ट है टिक्कू भाई. अरे भाई इंसल्ट तो तब होगी ना जब बंदा लेगा. आप बंदे को गिफ्ट दो, वो बंदा ले ही ना, तो कैसे की इंसल्ट। फिलहाल के लिए चैट सिंधाव जी सोचते हुए इवांचुक भी गेम देख रहे होंगे भाई क्या क्रेजी गेम है। सो सिंधाव अंडर प्रेशर 30 minutes ओनली टू प्ले 22 moves. आई थिंक अरविंद इज डूइंग वेरी वेल टुडे. सो लेट्स गो टू द गेम ऑफ Arjun again. Has there been a move? No, okay, no move for King E7. So rapport calculating. And Pragg game chalte hain. By the way, he does not wait for King G7. He wants to attack right now. Pawn to H4 played. Critical moment. What will Pragg right now vibing? Nepo looks a bit confused. Yeah, he's not happy with the position as of now. I'm not shocked. I mean, nobody likes to get attacked like this. So thinking, thinking, thinking. He's about to play something. What will he play? I think he's playing something on the queen side. About to touch the bishop or something around here. Yeah, something around here. You can't move this knight, by the way, because h takes g3 will happen, and this is a pin. Wait, that's a mistake, I think. I think he just made a mistake. Ooh, slight error, not a big one. But the threat is, of course, queen h6 ideas. And now king g7, the only move for Pragg. But chat, this is the problem as well because the knight is under a pin now. There can be some tactical ideas. King g7. Come on, Pragg, let's go. Pragg zero point 0.9 better. Maybe it's close to plus zero point 0.6 instead of zero point 0.9. But regardless, being better with the black pieces is a huge deal, actually, chat. We should not underestimate how rare it is to kind of be better with against a player like Nepo with the black pieces after just 20 moves. It's not easy at all. So Pragg has played a fascinating game today. Can he continue the action? Is the question. Wild in the game because we're going to focus on Indian games, Pramoda. And today it's also the same case. We have the Bullet Chess Championship starting at 9:30 p.m. So our goal is to be to focus on Indian players. And as soon as the Indian games end, we're going to end the stream. And Arjun, by the way, also has to play the Bullet Chess Championship. So he will also be incredibly tired, hoping he saves some energy for that as well. Pragg, by the way, I have to admit the two losses must have kind of hurt Pragg's confidence. Even though he's better, right? You don't sense that momentum in his body language yet. Well, though losses night really beats you up, he needs that one win now. It will get his confidence back. अगर सहज भाई वर्ल्ड चैंप चैलेंज में तब भी जीरो लाएंगे आई थिंक ही माइट स्कोर हाफ अ पॉइंट मैक्स मे बी हाफ इज पॉसिबल उससे ज्यादा मुश्किल लग रहा है मुझे लाइक मे बी ही स्कोर्स मोर बट माई गेस इज हाफ इज पॉसिबल मे बी बिकॉज यार 2800 और 2500 में इतना ही डिफरेंस है जितना मेरा और सहाज नहीं उससे ज्यादा है मेरे सहाज में एक्चुअली अभी 250-300 पॉइंट का डिफरेंस है एंड सहाज और वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप में 400-350 पॉइंट का मोर डिफरेंस देयर maybe he scores one and a half maybe he's maybe underestimating Sahaj there but hard to know actually. Chat, meanwhile, Pragg, as he ponders over that important, crucial moment, King G7 is the only move to maintain his advantage. Can he put on the pressure? We'll find out in a few minutes as well. Arvind, by the way, clearly putting on the pressure. Sindaro ke 26 minutes hai, by the way, chat. This is Arvind's golden opportunity. I cannot stress it enough. He has the game by its throat right now. The position seems to be only minus zero point 0.2, but abhi ke liye at least the game, the momentum is in Arjun's favor. Look at the clock. More than double the time on the clock than his opponent. Only 18 moves played. Complicated position. 22 moves khelni hai. 26 minutes for Sindarov ko. This is the game that could get his rating and his confidence back. If he wins right now, he jumps from world number 20, I think, straight to world number 15 or 14 or whatever. So this is the golden opportunity. Let's hope so. Arvind Chidambaram can strike here. Sindarov struggling. Arjun game में जाएंगे हम नजर मारते कुछ हुआ By the rook a c1, the best move played by Rapport, and rook h d8, the best move played by Arjun. The idea is you wanna pressure this pawn. ये मेरी एक मेरी उंगली पे लगी हुई है और वहीं पे तुम मेरे मुंह पे लगी वही तुम पंच कर रहे हो, तो मेरे पास भी तुम्हारी वीकनेस है भाई, द सेकंड रैंक. If you try to grab this pawn, let's say you play knight b3 to grab this pawn, I'm going to quickly defend this and next मैं उड़ी तो आ रहा हूं. So this is not going to be easy for Richard Rapport to win as well, even though he's slightly better. So meanwhile, Pragg has played king g7. So meanwhile, Pragg finding best move after best move and putting Ian Nepomniachtchi under pressure. The two-time world championship challenger right now could be facing the music against Pragg. But again, the game is not over. Chess game is not like tennis. It's not like cricket कि आपने 300 रन कर लिए तो जेब में है. टेनिस में क्या होता है? If you score a point, that point is yours. Nobody can take it back. Chess is the only game, which can be ruthless sometimes. You can play perfect chess for 5 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours, and then lose it all in 1 second. So that's why you have to be precise. You have to be focused and concentration. जैसे कहते हैं ना, like Rahul Dravid never lost concentration for a second. This is exactly what he has to do. He cannot lose concentration even for a move. Super important moment. King g7, attack incoming, rook h8 incoming, and h file पे तहलका मचने वाला है भाई. गुकेश को सॉलिड खेलना चाहिए थोड़ा. गुकेश आज नहीं खेल रहा है, सो गुकेश का हम बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे. बट ऑफ कोर्स गुकेश हैज प्लेड अमेजिंग चेस एट नॉर्वे चेस. टू बीट मैग्नस वाज डेफिनेटली एन अचीवमेंट. MMA also, I think, but I think once MMA, if you're beaten down, right, there's a less chance you get up as well. So उसमें तब भी है. Chess में it maybe it's a bit similar, but chess sometimes more brutal. Or you can be RCB. अरे बाप रे. Rapport mistake carrier chat. I'm gonna check that quickly. By the way, rook h d1, I don't think it's a mistake, yaar. I think it's the logical move. I think, for example, the best move that the engine scream is, wait, the best move is knight b3. Lols, the move I said is not great. That tells you, chat, यार इंजन कुछ भी खेलता है भाई. मतलब इंजन कुछ भी खेलता है, कोई सेंस नहीं बनती कई बार. Rook hd1 is so logical. I think the move Rapport played, that's what any human would play here. And now I think from Arjun's perspective, you can trade one pair of rooks, बट दूसरा आई थिंक गेम में रखना चाहिए. यू शुड नॉट डू दिस. आई थिंक दिस कैन बी अ बिट रिस्की, लाइक लिटिल बिट. इट्स स्टिल अ ड्रॉ, आई थिंक, but still a bit risky, I think, a little bit risky, because knight is better against bishop because of this weak pawn structure here. So Arjun, let's see what he does. I think he can also play f6 to defend this pawn. He can play h5, g5 to gain some space. Lots of options possible. What you don't want to do is play a5 here, I think, because king के पास पहुंच रहा है pawn, and white can take on d8, knight b3, attack this pawn. So a pawn push मत करो. Keep it as far away as possible from the king on a3. That's the main goal. जब तक a pawn दूर है, I think Arjun is doing fine. If Arjun wins the tournament, closing ceremony will be on 29th final day of Bullet Championship. What will Arjun choose to take the trophy or play Bullet? That's a good point. I think he will do both. If that is the case, that Arjun is playing the finals there, and let's say कि यहाँ पे trophy हो रही है, I'm sure Chesscom will realign the tournament in a way जहाँ पे he doesn't miss that. I think वो तो कोई सीन ही नहीं है. But of course, that's a long way away, right? Arjun has to be playing the finals of the Bullet Chess Championship for that to be an issue. And also, actually, वो issue नहीं है, chat. I just remembered that's not an issue because final day को round सुबह है. It doesn't start at 3:30 p.m. I just remembered the final day, the Uzbekistan Chess Cup round starts at 11:30 a.m. IST. So that's not an issue. Lols. Why, that's hilarious. I just remembered that. So no issues there, and Arjun will be able to do everything. Don't worry. But okay, that's on 27th. That's on 20. I don't think BCC के last day actually इसकी stream है भी, so that there's no issue. Absolutely no issue. So meanwhile, child Rukesh D1 played, so Arjun has more time, so not worried for Arjun at all here. One look at Arvind, then we jump to Pragg back. भाई सिंधारोव कर क्या रहा है? नाइट b5, he finds the best move, but time देखो भाई, 24 मिनट में 21 चालें खेलनी है. extremely difficult. Let's put the queen out to b6, Arvind, and attack that knight on b5. Going to the Pragg game now, जहां पे bishop e2 played by Nepo. He brings the bishop back, and इसका idea simple है. He wants to play knight c4, exchange that dangerous knight, and look at Pragg playing the best move in the position yet again. Rook to h8. एच फाइल पे आग लग चुकी है मेरे भाई. एच फाइल का आई कैन गारंटी यू, एच फाइल का टेम्परेचर जी फाइल से कम 2 डिग्री ज्यादा है. And everybody knows that's possible. So h5 already, knight c4 played, extremely important move, by the way. And now chat, Pragg has to grab this knight. That's not an easy decision. So just trying to understand what the plan is for Pragg, right? I think यहाँ वो समझना बहुत जरूरी है. Let's see what Pragg's idea is. So let's say I take on c4. You have to take with the bishop. And now the idea is rook h5. And if I pass the move, let's say मैंने खेला bishop to e2. Now I'm wondering, is queen h8 the idea? Or queen e7, queen f6, and then rook h8. And the idea is to take and mate on h1. So Pragg's attack is very simple and very precise. The only question is he's about to lose his strong knight on e5. So will the attack work? Only time will tell. आपको गो खेलना आता है? गो खेलना नहीं आता मुझे यार. मुझे गो करोना खेलना आता है. I mean, I don't know. Arvind is better now. That's amazing news. Arvind is better. एंड क्वीन बेसिस का इंतजार कर रहे हैं हम लोग वहां पे. अर्जुन की गेम में कोई मूव आई है क्या? नो मूव इन द अर्जुन गेम. सो लेट्स स्टिक टू द Pragg गेम चैट. सुपर क्रूशियल मोमेंट फॉर Pragg. टाइम पे थोड़ा पीछे है. वी ऑलवेज नो नेपो प्लेस क्विकली. सो कहीं ना कहीं पे ही विल पुट प्रेशर ऑन द क्लॉक ऑन यू. ही विल नॉट अलाउ यू टू सेटल डाउन. एंड चाहे पोजिशन में कुछ भी हो रहा हो, टाइम पे आप हमेशा प्रेशर में रहोगे. सो दैट्स व्हाट ही हैज टू बी केयरफुल अबाउट. Pragg टाइम भी मेंटेन करना है, अच्छा भी खेलना है, जल्दी भी खेलना है. Don't you think Pragg against Magnus in Norway chess was so dominating then against Gukesh was blunder? I agree, Vausto. But the thing is, Magnus also played a dubious opening there. Like he played a very suspicious opening, and Pragg utilized that very well. I don't think we saw that Magnus play that dubious opening anywhere else. So I would say ki it's not a fair comparison because I think Magnus did blunder in the opening. That's basically it. But yes, it was a clinical win as compared to Gukesh's win. But ऑल्सो कितने लोग मैग्नस को हारी हुई पोजीशन से हरा पाए हैं? That's also an important detail, right? Magnus never loses a winning position. Like if Gukesh had outplayed Magnus, you would never see Magnus bang the table. He would lose, he will be sad, but okay. But the fact that he lost a completely winning position is what made him bang the table, and we got these memes and got so much, crazy scenes. So I think वो एक चीज है. फ्लैग कौन सा है प्रोफाइल पर? आई थिंक दैट्स द फिडे फ्लैग यार. सो रशियन प्लेयर्स का वो वॉर की वजह से दे आर नॉट अलाउड टू प्ले विद देयर फ्लैग, कुछ सीन है, एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई थिंक they are playing with the FIDE flag. But yes, Nepo is from Russia indeed. Pragg Norwich isn't खेला because invite नहीं आया होगा. Last time Pragg played it, and this time Arjun and Gukesh played it. Full pressure भाई, full pressure. Ooh, come on, Pragg. फिलहाल के लिए Pragg thinking critical moment. And Chad, it's very tempting to also play queen f6, right? But I think white will not take the knight, then white will take the bishop. And I think वो bishop बहुत important है हमारे लिए. That's the one which is pinning the knight, pinning the queen, pinning the f pawn, attacking the king. So इतने सारे काम कर रहा है. Look at white's pieces right now. White के सारे piece, knight, queen, pawn, king, सारे इसी diagonal पे है. So this bishop is an important piece, and that's why you don't want white to grab your bishop on b6. So मुझे लग रहा है कि भाई प्लीज मार दो ये घोड़ा. Why not h3 for Pragg? यार देखो ये बहुत क्रूशल है. If you play h3, I will take the bishop. You have to take this back. I am not forced to even take this. I will not take this. I will play b4, let's say. And if you take this, I will take with the king, and I am actually going to play rook h1, and I'm not really sure who's attacking anymore. इनफैक्ट विद नाइट f5 इनकमिंग, रुक h1 इनकमिंग, आई थिंक जैसे मैंने कहा था, अगर प्रग का अटैक काम नहीं किया तो नेपो का अटैक काम करेगा, एंड दिस इज एक्जैक्टली व्हाट ही डिड. सो यू हैव टू बी वेरी स्पेसिफिक. आई थिंक यू ओनली ओपन द h फाइल व्हेन इट्स टाइम टू से चेकमेट. लेट्स जस्ट पुट इट दैट वे. यू ओपन दिस व्हेन इट्स ओवर. Meanwhile, Arvind game mein Queen B6 has been played by Arvind and A4 played by Yakovi Sindaro. So Arvind still putting on pressure and going to the Arjun game now, jahan pe we have seen moves G5. Chat, एक बार ना अर्जुन ओपी हो जाए भाई. एक बार अर्जुन ओपी स्पैम कर दो प्लीज यार. G5 is the first preference of the engine, even in such a dull endgame. He just plays so strategically well, man. I don't know how. Best move of the engine, G5. B3 played, and now best move of the engine, H5, gaining space on the king side and basically saying कि any pawn race could be better for black. मान लो white यहाँ दौड़ता है end game में. If the black king runs here, then any race could be just winning for white because he has the bishop. So Arjun is just by a legend by. गेम के बीच में एक दूसरे बात क्यों नहीं करते? आई थिंक यू कैनॉट टॉक टू अदर प्लेयर्स बिकॉज दे कैन ऑफर यू अ हिंट, सो इट्स नॉट अलाउड. Arjun OP indeed, bhai. He's just a legend, bhai. Amazing player. Amazing player. Like you can see in real time why he's like close to 2800. Like हर जगह best move, भाई. हर जगह best move. Like Rapport कल क्या खेला था accuracy, भाई. अर्जुन की accuracy ज्यादा है. 98.2, higher than Rapport. Arjun is my favorite player. I think he's definitely one of my favorite players as well, भाई. खतरनाक भाई. What a game Richie played, absolutely. And chat, do like the stream. Let's get to 500 likes. Jaldi say, as Arjun, I think, has now completely equalized, and there is nothing to worry at all for Erigasi Arjun. So we have three games. Two games are right now equal. Arvind's game is equal, but Arvind is the one pushing. Arjun's game is equal. And Pragg is the one who's better. So, फिलहाल के लिए things looking great for Indian players today, even with the black pieces. Can Ding win to candidates? I don't think so. Arjun is clearly at ISO for calling on it. I think he is close to a ISO level. Like whether his level is 2780 or 2790 or ISO or ISO thus, that's very hard to differentiate, right? But I think he's moving towards ISO again. And if he reaches there again, right, then that statement, ki, haan bhai, I have reached ISO twice. That means my level is ISO. And of course, not to forget the candidate spot. If Arjun crosses 2807, he steals Hikaru's rating spot in the candidates. So, lot at stake for Arjun. Arjun tweeted 17 minutes ago. भाई Arjun Twitter पे बैठा हुआ है क्या? I'll check that for you. I don't think so. उसकी टीम होगी भाई. Erigasi Arjun, by the way, all these players have very, amazing teams working behind the scenes who really help them focus on the chess part. And yes, Arjun did tweet 18 minutes back. So I don't know who tweeted. I don't know if you can show it, Nidhi bhai. Much needed step in the right direction. By the way, All India Chess Federation के जो उन्होंने announce किया है, for the first time in the history of Indian chess, quarterly stipends. ओ बाप रे, कुछ नया देख रहा हूं मैं. Nidhi bhai, do let Avadh and Rakesh know. So quarterly stipends ranging from 60,000 to 1.5 lakh, totaling 42 lakhs for the first quarter of 2025, have been dispersed to 42 top players from the under 7 to the under 19 categories. By caste में under 7 होता है यार. These stipends will support players' coaching and travel needs, enabling them to globally pursue higher goals with confidence. And he thanks the Prime Minister for supporting this and so on. So very interesting. So players of all ratings getting a lot of support from the federations. कल का कौन सा न्यूज़ है यार नीरी भाई? ओ, एक इंडिया के 9 साल के बच्चे ने मैंने से ड्रॉ किया. दैट्स क्रेजी भाई. कौन था बच्चा वो? कौन था बच्चा वो? ओ नाइस. तो 9 साल के बच्चे एक मैग्नेट से ड्रॉ कर रहे हैं. हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं भाई? हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं नीरी भाई? क्या कर रहे हैं हम लोग जिंदगी के साथ? लेट्स गो फुल स्क्रीन। हाँ तो और सेवा करते हैं, पास जाके सेवा करते हैं मेरी भाई। लेट्स गो फुल स्क्रीन वर्ड्स पराग, बिकॉज क्रूशल मोमेंट है एंड चैट। 27 minutes नाउ। सो थोड़ा सा मुझे स्ट्रेस हो रहा है, थोड़ा सा स्ट्रेस होने लगा मुझे भाई, बिकॉज नाउ यू कैन सी कि Pragg will start feeling कि अरे यार, I have no time on the clock, I have messed 2 games before, I want to be fast but I also want to be accurate. It's a difficult balance between playing the best moves and maintaining time on the clock. देखो भाई, चलो बाटा चौक पे मिलते हैं एक चेस गेम। हाँ भाई, बस अब यही बचा है, बाटा चौक पे बैठ के हम चेस गेम खेलेंगे बस। यही ड्रीम थी मेरी भाई जब मैं पैदा हुआ था। एंड चैट फिलहाल के लिए कितने मूव्स खेलने हैं? आई थिंक ही हैज टू प्ले 16 मोर मूव्स इन 27 minutes। नाउ यूजुअली दैट्स ओके, बट लुकिंग एट हाउ कॉम्प्लिकेटेड द गेम इज, आई थिंक इट्स नॉट गोना बी इजी। एंड यू कैन सी हाउ एच फाइल पे अटैक है। सो ही, as we saw, knight c4 being the only move tells you कि इतना आसान भी एक डिसीजन नहीं है प्रग के लिए, because I would think you want to attack instantly, not worry about this knight, but it is an important decision. You cannot allow white to take this bishop. That's a pride and joy of your position. एग्जैक्टली, बनाना जी कभी गलत बात नहीं बोलते, बनाना जी की सुनो भाई। इनफैक्ट प्रग की चेयर के, ओ, इज इट द सेम बनाना टॉकिंग फ्रॉम प्रग्स चेयर? बिकॉज मुझे दिख रहा है नीचे यार, चेयर के नीचे देखो एक बनाना पड़ा हुआ है। आप वही बनाना हो क्या? प्रग का बनाना हो क्या आप? ओ वाओ, दैट्स क्रेजी। नाइस टू हैव प्रग्स बनाना इन द चैट। And meanwhile, chat, we're going to go to the other 2 games. First, Chidambaram, are there updates? No updates yet. Chidambaram taking his time. And अगर हम अर्जुन गेम में जाएं एक बार, H5 के बाद रैपोर्ट as well. I think he's realizing कि maybe I have lost my edge now, and it's time to kind of accept that. So great play by Arjun, neutralizing any advantage whatsoever. So Paraki gave me crucial chat. I think this is where the fireworks are going to happen in a few moves. And he has played knight takes c4. He plays the best move in the position. Beautiful. And now bishop takes e4 आएगा बहुत जल्दी. And now rook h5. Let's go, Pragg. भाई वही, you can see the banana there, right? It's visible. I think it's on the right side of his chair. तो मेरे को लगा वही बनाना तो नहीं, चैट वहां से तो नहीं बात कर रहा है वो। एंड नाउ चैट, नेपो पानी पीते हुए क्या खेलेंगे यहाँ पे प्रग? Come on, come on, come on, come on, Pragg bhai, continue, continue. Rook h5 now, rook h5. I think he must have seen rook h5, yeah. Although the queen f6 is also possible, like it's not a bad move, but यहाँ पे queen f4 is a problem, because अगर queen trade हो गई ना, then the attack is basically gone. Then there is no attack. Maybe black is a bit better with these pawns, but if you really want to checkmate white, I think you have to play rook h5 now. That is the only move, as you can see, to maintain a clear advantage. इट इज विजिबल, यू कैन सी द बनाना, दिख रहा है यार, वो पानी की बोतल है और बनाना है। कम ऑन, कम ऑन, कम ऑन। ओ, ही प्लेस क्वीन f6। अरे यार, मैंने अभी बोला क्वीन f6 कुड बी अ मिस्टेक। नाउ इट्स स्टिल बेटर फॉर Pragg, but it's not as better now. I think rook h5 was the move, with the idea of playing queen f6 and rook h8 now, threatening on the h file, and queen f6 maybe is not the best move order to be doing this. And now maybe Nepo has a golden opportunity to play queen to f4 here and exchange queens. Let's say queen f. Maybe he wants to play queen g6. Is that the plan? But that's risky, right? Because I have e5 now. This is also double edged because you can see the queen and bishop are pressuring f7. So queen cannot really move to h6 or h7 to attack on the h file. So you're kind of treading on thin wire. So queen f4, if you do take h3, I don't think I can play g3, right? I can. Yeah, queen f4 played. So we're going to see what Pragg's idea is pretty soon. I think queen f6 was the wrong move order there. देखो भाई, हमारे सब कॉन्टिनेंट में पाकिस्तान, बांग्लादेश, नेपाल, भूटान में जीएम है क्या? आई थिंक बांग्लादेश हैज अ फ्यू जीएम्स, नेपाल आई एम नॉट, नेपाल भूटान आई डोंट थिंक सो, आई माइट बी रॉन्ग बट आई डोंट थिंक सो. पाकिस्तान also has no GM. I think सुल्तान खान को GM टाइटल दिया गया था, but he's not really like a current GM, right? So no, not right now. Draw is then losing. I agree. Please don't overreact over engine evaluation. भाई engine evaluation की बात नहीं है यार. It's simple है. You wanna attack, अगर queen trade हो गई, if the queens are traded off, you don't need the engine or even anybody for this. अगर आप attack कर रहे हो, if you trade off queens, that's gonna reduce the effectiveness of your attack. It's as simple as that. Forget the exact moves. So queen f4 now, and you see that's why Nepo played queen f4. And of course, you feel like you can win a pawn, right? Bishop d4. But white will not take the queen. You can, hoping you can win a piece. You can basically just take the bishop here. And queen d4 is not possible because of queen f7 check. So again, that bishop, proving very, very beneficial. So yeah. Yeah, I know, but he was awarded the title as a Pakistani. That's what Fede did. Yeah, वो मेरी मैंने title award नहीं किया, Fede से पूछना. And meanwhile, Chad going to the Arvind game, B takes a3 and passant, the best move played. And of course, knight a3 likely to happen on the board. And now the question is, chat, is Arvind gonna play f5 at some point? That's super important because f5 is risky. जैसे आप f5 खेलते हो ना, let's say मैंने यहाँ पे pawn से मार दिया and black plays f5. You kind of allow g6 hanging. H6 is also hanging. Both these pawns are hanging right now, but apparently it works for black. Bishop h6 अगर आपने मारा तो simply f4 and now you can do this and black is just winning. And if you take on g6, then I'm gonna take on g4, and if you take, आपका king यहाँ पे completely अटक चुका है. And even though it looks scary, I think black is the one winning because the knight is hanging and the white king will not be able to castle anywhere ever. So could go wrong for white very quickly. So Arvind still in the driver's seat. Time pe bhi bahut aa gaya hai. So hoping he can put as much pressure as possible in this moment and try to win this game. So Pragg ka Baran keh raha hai, more people know about Mir Sultan. I know. He's a very strong player and self-learned to a large extent. And now we go to the game of Arjun, jahan pe kuch moves aayi hai. Hello? Chat, question for you. What do you think Rapport played here? स्क्रीन पे कैमरा मत देखो. व्हाट डू यू थिंक रैपोर्ट प्लेड इन दिस पोजीशन? विद आई एम क्वाइट इम्प्रेस्ड बाय रैपोर्ट्स मूव. भाई क्या बंदा है यार रैपोर्ट. यार क्रिएटिव तो है, मारना तो पड़ेगा भाई, बंदा क्रिएटिव है बहुत. व्हाट डू यू थिंक वाइट प्लेड हियर चैट? कम ऑन, व्हाट इज द मूव? He played an absurd move actually, a ridiculous move. King to a4. मतलब स्वदेश का गाना मिसिंग है. यूं ही चला चल रही, यूं ही चला चल रही, इतनी हसीन है ये दुनिया, छोड़ सारे झमेले, देखो रुको के है मेले. भाई ये क्या चल रहा है भाई? कहीं भी चल दिया भाई बंदा. एंड नाउ दीदी भाई सेइंग कॉपीराइट लग जाएगा भाई, इतना बढ़िया गाना थोड़ी गाता हूं मैं. By the way, Rook a b8 played the best move, and now Rapport has to be careful, chat. This can go down the drain for him if he overextends. And Knight a6 is a slight error by Rapport. That's a slight mistake by Rapport. Creativity can only go so far. And now Arjun can take on d1, rook d1, and play rook b5. The knight is trapped. He has taken. Oh, he missed it. He missed it. He missed it. He's repeating rook b6, knight c5, rook b8. Array, there was a chance to get an advantage. Knight a6, rook d1, rook d1, rook b5 is slightly better for him, apparently. But it's how is it better? Let's have a look. So let's say I just pass. I play pawn to e3. What is the plan? How am I winning that knight somehow? Because there is knight c7, but knight c7 के बाद क्या? There is no other square. The knight is almost trapped. I'm surprised Arjun did not see this. Because knight b4 अगर आप खेलते हो, which looks logical, rook c5 is very strong apparently. Now you can never move the knight because rook c2 is just close to winning. And a5 is incoming actually. Wait. This is extremely scary actually. यार अर्जुन भाई कम ऑन. I think Rapport noticed this. He's shaking his head. I think he saw it now. He saw it now. He saw it now. I think he saw it now actually. He was shaking his head. He just saw it. तेरे पास इंजन है भाई, तो वर्ल्ड के टॉप प्लेयर भी है ना भाई, मैं तो बता रहा हूं ऑब्जेक्टिवली देयर वाज अ चांस. It's not losing, but there was a genuine chance for black to get a better position. So I think Arjun missed that. Yeah, so we'll come back to this as the report calculates. One look at the game of Pragg. Has something happened? No, Pragg is still not played. He has 19 minutes now. Has to be quicker. Has to be a bit quicker now. Arjun wants to have some rest with bullet match. I don't think that is the reason though. I think he just didn't. He just missed Rook B5. I think if he saw Rook B5 and he realized Knight was getting trapped to some extent, he would have played it for sure. And now, chat, going to the game of Arvind. Have there been any moves? B takes taken, and that's allowing the move F5, the one we discussed, chat. The only move in the position for Arvind Chidambaram to get a better position, but it's incredibly risky because it allows white to take on g6, it allows white to take on h6, and you need to have the courage ki ha bhai, doesn't matter, f5 I'm going to play. Chat, question for you: do you think he finds f5? Pragg queen trade, I mean, I think he has to, right? I don't know how he avoids the queen trade now. um Not exactly sure how do you avoid this. I think karna hi padega. I don't really see a clear option. And then you can maybe try to now attack the e4 pawn instead. आप बोलोगे ठीक king side पे मेरे को attack नहीं मिला. I'm going to attack this. Rook f e1. Uh, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need a pawn back. So takes, and rook takes b2. I think this is the best now that Pragg has. And this is close to equal because rook a7 भी है white के पास. Should be equal, I think. Should be equal. Roughly equal. Time is getting critical. I agree. I think time थोड़ा सा कम है and maybe the queen trade is good for Pragg in that regard. कि अगर queen trade हो गया then time pressure में कोई issue नहीं है. Rapport same गलती again. क्या बात कर रहे हो? अरे बाप रे, फिर से same गलती कर दी and they've drawn the game. Bhai, Arjun had another chance, but I think okay, fair result. But I think he might not be happy when he goes back and checks it. But I think a fair result for both players, a draw, a quick draw for Arjun, relatively quick draw, 26 moves, and only let's say 2 hours 20 minutes in. So that means chat. Yeah, Arjun is saving some energy for bullet chess now, chat. वो समझ गए कि आज decent है and now he'll be back later on to battle a very strong player in the bullet chess championship. So Arjun takes a draw and right now he is in sole lead in the event because he's gone to 4.5 points and now Param versus Notirbek में decide होगा कि कौन उनको join करेगा या कौन उनसे आगे जाएगा. So as of now, a decent draw, a comfortable draw for Arjun. Not even for 1 second did we have a doubt कि भाई वो pressure में है. So beautiful game by Arjun, a quick draw. Let's go to the other two games. One look at Arvind, by the way. Amazing, amazing move by Arvind Chidambaram. F5. By how does this not have an exclamation mark by kam se kam? If it's not a brilliancy because technically brilliancy हो सकती है, but what a move F5, sacking both these pawns, but it just doesn't matter. And now Sindaro, with 22 minutes on the clock and 19 moves to play, is facing the strongest attack he has faced in this entire event. And I think Sindarov is under huge pressure, chat. This could be the game which will get Arvind his first win of the event. I think it will be his first event, right? I think he's had 2 losses and bunch of draws. Yes. This could be his first win of the event, chat. So Arvind OP, let's hope so he convert. White under huge pressure now. Going to the Pragg game. Has he played? Not yet. अर्जुन को नेक्स्ट इवेंट के लिए भागना है भाई. नेक्स्ट इवेंट के लिए मुझे ही भागना है भाई. भाई. So that will be a hard call. I think 9:30 p.m. starts. स्टार्ट होगा बीसीसी. वील बी बैक फॉर दैट ऑफ कोर्स, बट फिलहाल के लिए आई थिंक पहले ये दो गेम्स सुपर इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड प्रग के लिए आई थिंक इफ ही इज कंफर्टेबल विद रॉ क्वीन F4 इज वेरी लॉजिकल. नाउ देयर इज क्वीन G6 बाय द वे. So you say I don't want to trade queens, and white has e5, and the problem is अगर आप मारते हो queen takes e5, you now are kind of forced to trade anyways. So मेरे हिसाब से that's why queen G6 makes less sense. I think Pragg either missed queen F4 or he has some other plan now, like he will take and maybe switch to an attack on the e4 pawn. रोज होगा बुलेट, यप 4 दिन होगा. वील स्ट्रीम इट अंटिल वी हैव इंडियन प्लेयर्स इन द इवेंट. 16 प्लेयर टोटल है चैट, एंड 3 इंडियन प्लेयर्स हैं. इट्स अर्जुन, नेहाल एंड मित्रबा. इज प्लग स्लीपिंग? नहीं नहीं यार. Chad, chess is the only game जहां पे if you're sleeping, you can actually claim that the player is, calculating. बाकी imagine playing a cricket game with your eyes closed, चाहे बैटिंग करनी हो या फील्डिंग, would look hilarious. But chess में you can actually play with your eyes closed as well. Takes, look at 6. यार, पता है, the point is, um, it's not a strong attack anymore. I can just play rook f e1. I can literally bring the king out because the queens are not on the board now. So the attack is not really as strong. And Polymorph saying queen e7, but first of all, then why did you come to f6? That's the first psychological question I'm going to ask you. And even if you go back, I think now you can even just take on h4, rook h4 and g3. That's very important because once you move the rook back, I have time to bring the rook up, rook h8 pe, rook h1. And to be honest, white is pawn up and white is close to winning. So I think mere hisab se queen f4 would be the likely move now. Total 9 rounds chat, and it's I think the round number 7 going on right now. So 2 more rounds to go. कल भी same time पे है. परसों I think जल्दी होगा round. It will start at 11:30 a.m. in the morning. So उस दिन को chat तुम्हें जल्दी आना पड़ेगा भाई. जो लोग स्कूल जा रहे हैं, ऑफिस जा रहे हैं, वो लोग नहीं आ पाएंगे, बट जो लोग आ सकते हैं भाई, वो लोग जरूर आना. Meanwhile chat, Pragg still thinking. I think 12 भाई 12 मिनट है Pragg के पास. I just noticed he has 12 minutes. Bro, he has to play quickly. Look at his opponent's clock. Nepo, by the way, that's why he's a strong contender for a world championship, because that's how much time he puts you on the clock. 46 minutes, 12 minutes by. It's not easy to beat Nepo. Come on, chat. Do like the stream. Let's get to 750 likes as soon as possible. Pragnanda in the critical moment. He has to take the rook h6. So he's basically saying, I am going to double my rooks anyways, and I'm still going to try for the same attack. Now, of course, white will take the queen. The problem is he cannot take with the rook, I think, because of g takes h4. I don't think he can take with the rook, so he has to take with the king. And now gh4, rook h4, there is just g3 again. So I'm not completely sure how this works. King g2, rook h. यहाँ पे आया rook h1, takes, king e5, bishop f7, bishop d4, pawn takes, king takes. I mean, this is a draw, yeah? This is a draw. So ये game draw होगी chat मेरे हिसाब से. I think draw होगी ये चीज, and that will not be the perfect result of that, but be a decent result, I think. 25 minutes, not 12. He has 12 minutes by. We can see it on the clock next to his board. 12 minutes, 44 seconds for Pragg. So rook h6 a decent move, but it doesn't really change matters. I think it's still a draw. Meanwhile, Arvind ki game is the only one which is going very quickly. gf5 aa gaya hai, gf5, and now rook to b1. This, defending the knight and threatening some discover attacks, like knight c3 is now possible, attacking the queen. And now Arvind has to be careful. I think maybe king h7, getting out the king from the g file can be useful. Rook f7 खेल सकते हो with the idea to develop rooks at the right moment. मतलब Sindarov is playing good moves for now. He's not crumbling right now. पराग हमेशा टाइम लेता है हर मूव पर. आई नो यार, बट द थिंग इज, पता है पोजीशन इतनी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है, एंड एज वी सॉ इन द रैपोर्ट गेम, एज वी सॉ इन द Param game, maybe Pragg ka style, like in those extremely complicated positions, it just takes him more time, and that's why he has made those mistakes in some games. So I would say, let's just kind of trust Pragg. He will of course work on that skill, but meanwhile, I think he has played well today. Black pieces Nepo se draw karna bhi मुश्किल है. Now the only worry for me is the clock. That's the only worry कि भाई clock पे कोई गलती ना हो जाए. I know MG by. I think he will not win first place now. That's almost impossible. It will require incredible luck, I think. That वही RC वाली calculation करनी पड़ेगी. But yeah, there's only one moment. Yeah, he just missed one move. One move was the problem. I think यहाँ पे Queen f6 के बदले he had to play Rook h5, and that's what I said, right? Chess और tennis में यही difference है. You can play well for 5 hours, and one move can just take everything away. Yeah, Queen f6 on the board. King takes zaruri because you want to defend this pawn. And now let's see how Nepo plays this, because this is important, chat. Very important. Because the game is not over yet. Pragg ka threat hai rook h8, taking on the g file and some sort of devastating check. So Nepo को अभी भी उसका solution निकालना है. Nodrbek might win the tournament. For that, he has to beat Param. He is better against Param right now, but as we know, Param is super tricky. So it's not over yet. It's not over yet. And Nodrbek coming from a loss yesterday might be a bit tilted, right? So if he has a draw in hand, he might overpush and lose as well. So we can't say for sure. Why are some, a good question, yeah? Why some are able to make multiple immortal games, but some can't? Playing style is given. Any of the reasons you think? I think it's two things. One is playing style and tactical ability for sure. कितना आप complicated positions में आराम से आपका intuition आपको guide करता है. How strong is your intuition in complicated positions? That will only come from experience. जितना आपने analysis करी है complicated games का, उतना better रहेगा. Second is of course your risk tolerance. आप कितना risk लेने के लिए ready हो? आपके सामने एक तरीका है. You can play a normal game, get a draw, get a lot of money, win the tournament. Would you take that risk? So it's a combination of your style and your tactical ability plus your risk tolerance. Nippo nahi hai bhai. It's not a double A battery. Nepo. Nepo bhi technically naam nahi hai. It's Nepo Mniachi. Yep, this year he has been on fire. He has played amazing. I think until these two rounds, right? Jo hara पिछले दोनों round. Entire year for Pragg has been amazing. Like flawless year 2025. So he can still end on a high. If let's say he draws this or wins this, then he scores like 1.5 or 2 points in the next two games. I think he'll be pretty happy with what he has at the end. Let's second bhi aata hai मान लो. That will still give him a bunch of points for the FIDE circuit, right? So I think usko abhi bhi he has a lot to play. Come on, Pragg. By the way, 41 minutes for Nepo. And by the way, no updates in the Arvind game yet. यहाँ पे भी टाइम प्रेशर बढ़ना जा रहा है दोनों प्लेयर्स के लिए. चैट, डू नॉट फॉरगेट सिर्फ 22 मूव हुई हैं. सो स्टिल अरविंद एंड सिंदारोव हैव टू प्ले 18 moves in 19 and 29 minutes respectively. So still not easy for either player going back to the Pragg game. भाई समझ ओके. प्यार से नेपो भाई, बिल्कुल. बिना नेपो को देखिए, स्पेल करके दिखाओ. NEPOMNICHTCHI. भाई ये बहुत बार रट चुका हूं मैं यार, बहुत बार. आई कैन लाइक रिमेंबर दिस इन माई स्लीप नाउ. Will Arjun qualify? Let's hope so. But I think फिर अगर से मुश्किल है. He might have to qualify via the Grand Swiss or via the World Cup जो इंडिया में होने वाला है. So these might be his chances or the rating spot. If he can cross 2807, he can take Hikaru's spot as well. But जल्दी करना पड़ेगा. तो 6 month की rating average होगी from let's say July till दिसंबर की जो 6 महीने हैं, जुलाई अगस्त सितंबर अक्टूबर, हाँ 6 महीने हैं, उन 6 महीने की एवरेज रेटिंग ली जाएगी जिसकी हाईएस्ट है। तो हिकाल की रेटिंग 2807 होने वाली है। सो अब अर्जुन को 2807 जल्दी क्रॉस करना है। When Nepo taking his time, no moves in the Arvind game as well yet. So दोनों गेम्स में ये मोमेंट है जहां प्लेयर्स आर टेकिंग इट इनक्रेडिबली सीरियसली। उफ भाई, अर्जुन जो आज मस्त रेस्ट कर रहा होगा ना भाई, उसने कहा होगा, चलो भाई बुलेट चेस चैंपियनशिप खेलनी है, आज जल्दी गेम खत्म करते हैं। ही हैड अ चांस टू विन एक्चुअली। आई डोंट नो इफ ही विल बी हैप्पी व्हेन ही गोस बैक होम एंड सीज कि रूक बी 5 था। ही माइट नॉट बी हैप्पी। अगस्त जाना है क्या? जुलाई नहीं है उसमें, क्या बात कर रहे हैं, तो जुलाई भी है। Nepo still not playing. You can see him fidgeting with the piece in his hand. I think he's trying to think two things. Number one, what's my defense to this threat? Number one. Number two, do I have a way to push for an edge? Because chat, whatever he does, black के पास bishop takes and rook takes to drawing move है. That's the bare minimum that Pragg has to completely equalize. So Nepo has to think two things. Number one, what's my defense for this? And number two, do I have a way to maintain my advantage? For example, knight e2 could be a way to do both. आपने बिशप d4 का थ्रेट हटा दिया, अगर पॉन से मारा तो मैं नाइट से मारूंगा, एंड automatically my b2 pawn survives for the time being. So knight e2 might be the clever way to play on. And if rook gets shade by chance, then gh4. And if rook h4, then knight g3 just saves the day. And white is maybe slightly better here. So knight e2, an interesting move. टिप्स ये स्टेट सिस्टम के लिए भाई, डरने का नहीं भाई, किसी से डरने का नहीं। कोई रेटिंग हो, कोई एज हो, कोई ये लो, कुछ नहीं डरने का भाई, बस किसी से भी। Pragg drinks water, really? भाई आई होप आप अच्छा पानी पिए भाई, जरूरत है, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट गेम है भाई। And we will chat, no moves in the Arvind game, and this is where I'm a bit worried. I hope Arvind can play a bit quicker because time advantage can be really helpful in the final moments of the game. He's adjusting his chair, still not decided on a decision. There is no killer blow here for Arvind. But for example, chat, if you take on e4, for example, I think knight c3, and I attack the queen and I get to defend my pawn. तो ये फ्री का पॉन तो नहीं है, सो ही हैज टू कम अप विद समथिंग एल्स। देखो भाई, कब chess24 टेक 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 जैसा ऐप बनाएगा भाई? chess24 इज ओन्ड बाय chess.com, एंड chess.com ऑलरेडी हैज एन ऐप। सो आई डोंट सी व्हाई दैट विल हैपन। chess24 is owned by Chesscom by. Meanwhile, chat, going to the game of Pragg again. Is something happening? No moves just yet. आई थिंक नेपो के हिसाब से तो मुझे लगता है कि नेपो तो लाइक, आई थिंक ही अंडरस्टैंड्स कि भाई यहाँ पे कोई विन के चांस नहीं है। यू कैन सी इट इन हिज बॉडी लैंग्वेज। ना पता है प्लेयर कितना कॉन्फिडेंट है। जब नेपो कॉन्फिडेंट होता है ना, तो स्टेयर्स मिलती हैं ओपोनेंट्स को, यू कैन सी हिम काइंड ऑफ, वो ऑरा फील होता है नेपो का। नेपो का ऑरा अभी नहीं दिख रहा भाई मुझे। Pragg even lost 2 games in Tata Steel, so ultimate results of the results at the end matter. I agree. Exactly my point. So if Pragg can, for example, score three, 2.5 in the last 3 games, then nobody will remember the 2 losses because he finished off so well. So well, yeah, all is well that ends well. Who is top of the recent round? I think अभी Arjun top पे है, but he is the only one who has finished his game. So बाकी दोनों leaders आपस में खेल रहे हैं. So whosoever wins that will be in lead, and Arjun will be second. Unless they draw, then all three will be in lead. Alvin, कोई कह रहा है नोदिर की गेम देखो। H5 तक आ चुका है पॉन, दैट्स इंटरेस्टिंग। नाइट D5 बाय द वे खेला था वो, ब्रिलियंसी, वाओ। King F7, Knight B4, Bishop B7, H6 and G6. I think white is better, clearly, but it's not winning yet. It's not winning yet. So I'm going to say कि and time दोनों के पास कम है, तो कुछ भी हो सकता है, अभी भी कुछ भी हो सकता है। नेपो ने नहीं खेला, अरविंद ने भी नहीं खेला। भाई सारे लोग टाइम प्रेशर में बस ऐसे छलांग मार रहे हैं ना, डर लग रहा है मुझे। Nepo is better than Anish. I mean, Anish, I like Anish more, to be honest. As a player, as a person, he's hilarious. So that's my take. But yeah, what's your take? Wearing jeans, pants allowed now after the match. I mean, इन फिडे ऑफिशियल इवेंट्स फिडे डिक्टेट द रूल साइज बिकॉज फिडे ऑर्गेनाइजेस दैट इवेंट। तो जो भी ऑर्गेनाइजर है वो डिक्टेट करता है कि भाई क्या रूल्स रहेंगे उस टूर्नामेंट के। दिस इज अ फिडे इवेंट ऑफ कोर्स, बट दिस इज नॉट ऑर्गेनाइज बाय फिडे। सो इसका मतलब है कि दिस इज ऑर्गेनाइज बाय द लोकल ऑर्गेनाइजर एंड ही कैन डिसाइड कि भाई जीन्स अलाउड है कि नहीं है। अब जो वर्ल्ड रैपिड ब्लिट्ज है दैट्स डायरेक्टली ऑर्गेनाइज बाय फिडे एंड उसमें दे कैन डिक्टेट कि भाई इट्स अ फिडे वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप व्हाटएवर, तो दे कैन डिक्टेट टर्म्स। Come on, Arvind. Man, you have no time on the clock. Going to the Pragg game now. Still no moves. I'm a bit confused. Like, I think Nepo, when he exchanged queens, he would have thought of the plan, right? I mean, thinking now for so long is a bit surprising to me. Like, I think 15-20 मिनट हो गए already नेपो को सोचते हुए। 15 मिनट तो हो गए, I think, almost. Why does Arvind feel so restless? यार, it must be some nerves, right? आप 2 गेम हार चुके हो, tournament is not going well for you, थोड़ा बहुत nerves तो feel करेगा ना बंदा। इंसान है यार। Anish is more humble than Nep. I mean, humble, I don't know, like Anish is just awesome भाई। अगर सारे चेस प्लेयर अनीश जैसे होते तो कितना मस्त रहता, बट फिलहाल के लिए। Yeah, Abasov is also playing, exactly. Abasov is also playing this in a different category. Come on, Nepo भाई जल्दी खेलो। Because Nepo's this move will simplify matters quite a bit. Like we'll understand कि यहाँ draw होने वाला है, कितनी देर में draw होने वाला है। That's why this move is like very important. Dukesh will be playing soon, yeah. He'll be playing the GCT Zagreb Rapid and Blitz from 2nd July. तो वो भी हम stream करेंगे, will be amazing. And of course, Sahaj bhai will also be joining us for that. And मैग्नस गुकेश देखने को मिलेगा भाई, प्रग गुकेश देखने को मिलेगा, क्लीन क्लीन कंपैरिजन हो जाएगा, मजा आ जाएगा। स्टिल नो मूव्स। भाई क्या हो गया प्लेयर्स को? आई नो क्लासिकल है बट भाई नाउ अरविंद इज डाउन टू Sindaro's time. I don't like that one bit. Like ideally he should have maintained some edge on the clock, I feel. वो सारा क्लॉक का एडवांटेज उड़ गया एक ही सेकंड में। Why Norway doesn't have so many GMs? I think they will now. When Vishy Anand became world champion, then it took many years, right, for India to have so many youngsters. So by the way, FE4 not the best move apparently by Arvind, and now knight c3 played instantly by Sindarov. I think it's a human move because you open the F file, so makes sense, but objectively not the best. Arvind winning, I don't think he's winning, chat. Not yet, not yet. He could be winning. Like position ऐसी है ना, white can go wrong any second. Any second he can go wrong. But as of now, it's equal. 500 लाइक बिल्कुल भाई, राकेश भाई आएंगे बहुत जल्दी 7 बजे एंड देन ही डू द फर्स्ट चैलेंज एंड डू नॉट फॉरगेट चैट, 1000 लाइक पे 2 मेंबरशिप होंगी, सो डू कीप लाइकिंग द स्ट्रीम। सिंधारो अंडर प्रेशर, देखते हैं नेपो भाई ने कुछ खेला क्या। नेपो भाई ने फाइनली मार दिया भाई, फाइनली टेकन द पॉन। प्रग टेक्स इट बैक एंड आई थिंक G3 विल हैपन नाउ। अगर नाइट E2 खेलना होता तो पहले ही खेल दिया होता। आई थिंक G3 very likely. Yep, played on the board, attacking the rook. Rook will go back, and then king to G2 will likely to be Nepo's plan. क्रोएशिया में हो रहा है आप, जागरेब में। लास्ट टाइम मैं वहीं पे था एक्चुअली यार। लास्ट टाइम आई वाज इन यूरोप एट दैट पॉइंट, सो मैं चेसकॉम की तरफ से गया था वहां पे। वी रिकॉर्डेड सम वीडियोस विद अनीश एंड विदित, बहुत सही थी। ऑल्सो विद गुकेश बाय द वे, एंड दिस वाज बिफोर द वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप एंड ब्यूटीफुल सिटी जागरेब बाय द वे। बहुत सही था, टूर्नामेंट हॉल भी अमेजिंग था, बहुत सही टूर्नामेंट था यार। आई सॉ Kasparov there for the first time living in flesh, so amazing event. Prague Max would be entertaining. It's been so long. भाई अभी तो खत्म हुआ है, but I get your point, Anushka. I think even I want to see that match again. And after that rivalry, I'm pretty sure Gukesh is working, every waking hour right now, trying to prepare for that match, Rapid and Blitz against Magnus. He knows that the world will be watching, right? He knows the entire world will be looking out for that match between Gukesh and Magnus. So if he wins, that's a huge statement, especially in Rapid and Blitz, जहाँ पे Magnus का advantage और ज़्यादा है. So Ukesh will be in crazy prep mode right now. I also met Gukesh's dad there. I think imagine the sacrifices he must have made. Yeah, matlab, to have a world champion at the age of 18, it's not easy, भाई. You have to really, really sacrifice everything. जैसे नेपो यहाँ पे अभी अपने दो लोग sacrifice करेंगे. Come on, नेपो भाई, दो blunder. Not Gukesh, but Pragg Magnus. वो भी interesting है. Equally interesting actually. Maybe the rivalry with Gukesh, like Pragg Magnus की rivalry ना 2023 में बहुत high थी when they played the World Cup. Right now the Gukesh Magnus rivalry is more interesting because it's recent. But at the end, even if Pragg beats Magnus, that's also a big huge news. And also Pragg Gukesh as well, right? आपस में क्या रहता है वो भी बहुत important है. So Pragg still not playing. 11 minutes to play, 11 moves, a minute to move. One look at the Arvind game. भाई ये क्या हुआ? FE4 knight C3 के बाद दोबारा सोच रहा है Arvind. I'm a bit confused. Like why would you take on E4 and then start thinking? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm a bit surprised by this. Because obviously knight C3 move है ना? Like otherwise if you take with the pawn, I mean, this makes no sense. Knight is the obvious move. So I'm not sure what Arvind is thinking now. Did he miss something? He doesn't look happy at all. Can we go full screen? Did he, why? He doesn't look happy for some reason. There's no way he missed knight c3. I'm pretty sure. Okay, queen d8 played by taking, I think, too much time there, to be honest. And now, of course, f takes e4 probably is not the best. This knight is a bit loose. He can take with knight, taki exchange ho jaye. That's a good trade for white, I feel. Knight on c3 is not really doing much. Knight on c5 is an active piece, creating a lot of threats. So knight takes e4 should be the move. F takes e4 would be a huge mistake from Sindarov. मेंबरशिप चैट, ठीक है, तो आई डू अ चैलेंज. मैं राकेश भाई करेंगे, बट आई कैन डू इट अगर जल्दी है तो. तुम बताओ, राकेश भाई का वेट करना है. 7 PM राकेश भाई विल ज्वाइन, सो लेट मी नो इफ यू वांट हिम टू डू इट और मी टू डू इट. मीनवाइल सिंधारा कुर्सी पुल करते हुए, भाई ऐसा तो कुछ क्रेजी नहीं हुआ भाई कि कुर्सी पुल करने की जरूरत है. कम ऑन कम ऑन कम ऑन. अरविंद का जीतना बहुत जरूरी है यार. आई एम रियली रियली होपिंग ही विंस दिस वन. दिस इज सुपर इंपॉर्टेंट गेम फॉर अरविंद एज वी हैव डिस्कस मल्टीपल टाइम्स. सो गोइंग बैक टू द Pragg game for a second, as Sindarov thinks. By the way, rook h3 played by Pragg. This is interesting because it has a hidden idea, chat. So if you play knight f5, for example, like there could be some bishop f5, ef5, rook g3 threats, for example, because this pawn is pinned. So rook s3 has a nice motive there. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think कहीं ना कहीं पे main idea वही है अभी भी. Doubling up rooks and checkmating you on the h file. Okay, Pragg looks extremely nervous, honestly. How many minutes? Yes, 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes to play, 10 moves. ठीक है, doable है, doable है. I think it's not as complicated the position now. It's doable. Arvind is always serious. Never saw him laugh. I met Arvind, I think, for the first time during Chennai GM last year, and he was okay. Like he didn't feel like he was too serious at all. Actually, I think he's a bit of an introvert, and as most introverts are, like they're usually shy and don't express too much. I think that also shows in his play, maybe. But I think most chess players don't show emotion during a game. Yeah, they will show it after a game. By the way, chat, important. Apparently, Pragg is slightly better. Let's see how this happens. So, rook h8. Rook h1, the obvious move. There's also rook d1, but I don't think he will play this. Yeah, that feels stupid. So rook h8, rook h1 played, takes, takes. Wait, this is not the move. What's the move? Okay, engine is drunk. Yeah, मतलब I literally thought it's equal. Engine said is better. Now after playing this, it says it's equal. अलग ही है भाई. Okay, it is equal now. Yeah, exactly what I thought. Yeah, king e5, bishop f7, bishop d4, pawn takes, king d4, and यहाँ पे I mean, you play bishop g6, then bishop c6 is lost. So you have to play king g2, king e4, bishop check. Chad, I'm going to be honest. I think this is just a dead draw. Like if anybody wins, it's black, but it is a dead draw. क्योंकि यहाँ पे black का king थोड़ा ज़्यादा active है, and maybe that's why, but white has f4, and that should just be a draw. Two pawns, कंफर्टेबल ड्रॉ आई फील. सो रुक एच वन खेल दिया है, मारा 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 मारी चल रही है चैट. एंड बेस्ट मूव प्लेड बाय प्रग बाय द वे. ग्रेट मूव, किंग टू ई फाइव. एंड नाउ नेपो शुड फाइंड बिशप एफ सेवन or king g2. Any other move could put him under trouble here. I think he will. I mean, it's obvious. Why did Yakubov game eval change so much? Did it? Ah, so blunder by oh, he missed. Oh, queen d2 was a brilliancy apparently. King h6 was a brilliancy. King h7 खेलना था. Queen d2, king g7, rook g3 check is apparently winning. Oh, look at, he's losing the queen. Rook c check, queen मर रही है भाई. So Yakubov, after defeating Noderbek yesterday, now losing to the bottom skill, and that's important because Vokhidov is about to win, and he will gain 1 point. And if that happens, Chidambaram could be at the bottom of the table. So now Arvind has to win. He absolutely has to win. Otherwise, बिल्कुल बॉल टेल पे हो सकते हैं वो. So chat फिलहाल के लिए I'm not sure what Sindarov is thinking. He has to take with the knight, I feel. Pawn se marna ridiculous hai. So great news. Sindarov feeling the pressure. Going to the Pragg game. King e5, bishops and played. Chat, this game will end in a draw soon. So let's stick to this game. Pragg ke paas 10 minute bhi hai. And now king e4 is possible. Bishop d4, I think, should be the logical move though. Let's just kind of take all these pawns. Pragg क्या हारने के लिए खेल रहा है? नहीं 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 मॉन्ग यार. He's gonna draw this comfortably. And to be honest, if anybody wins this, it's black. White cannot win this. Look at the white king on h1. Look at the black king active on e5. Material बराबर है. Of course, white is a pawn, but वो next चाल में मर रहा है pawn. So if I had to choose a color, I would choose black here. The upcoming years will be exciting. The competition between the young players will be exciting. I agree. I think Indian youngsters, if you look at youngsters across the globe, इंडिया के सबसे ज्यादा यंगस्टर्स 2700 में है. उज्बेकिस्तान के सबसे ज्यादा यंगस्टर्स 2650 2700 में है. एंड टर्की के बहुत यंगस्टर्स आई थिंक 2600 2650 के बीच में है. सो maybe 2 years from now they will face a lot of competition even from international youngsters, but as of now India is literally dominating chess. And by the way, we saw the exact same moves come in. Bishop 7, bishop d4 takes, king g2 played by Nepo, and now it should just be a draw. Bishop c6 is an option, but I think f3 aa raha hai, so that's a bit confusing. I think let's just take that pawn. Yeah, जो pawn दिया है भगवान ने उसको ले लो भाई. Arjun game was a draw chat, and we will see Arjun soon in the Bullet Chess Championship. Nidhi bhai, have the streams been scheduled? Can you please check? देखिए ऐसा ना हो कि वो रह जाए. हाँ, हो गई है, बढ़िया 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 बढ़िया. ठीक है, कूल कूल कूल. Norway doesn't have population to have. I think they might have soon. I think Magnus era will motivate many youngsters to, because Magnus के सारे games, by the way, chat TV पे telecast होते हैं. Imagine the kind of motivation that holds to have every single game you play being shown on television, and so much prize money he has won, so much fame, so much, like, I mean, he's the goat by. So that will really motivate a generation of youngsters to play chess in Norway. वी विल स्ट्रीम. हाँ, मैं हूँगा, राकेश भाई भी ज्वाइन करेंगे भाई. चैट पहला रिजल्ट आज का अर्जुन का ड्रॉ, प्रग का गेम भी ड्रॉ होने ही वाला है. किंग टेक्स E4 प्लेड, check. King D4 I think will happen and then pawn to F4. White को pass pawn बहुत जल्दी create करना चाहिए. King D4. If you don't play F4 now, I can actually sometimes stop you from playing it. Put the bishop here and then here, and it can get a bit tricky for White, I feel. So maybe the best plan for White is just play F4 instantly. I'm nervous for Arvind. As of now, I think his opponent is more nervous though. As of now, in this moment at least, Arvind is better. But whether he would win, I mean, that's another discussion. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see that one. Nihal Sarin qualified for EWC. I don't think he has, right? Or has he? I forgot. Has he qualified? I'm not sure. I think he has, maybe. I think he has, or Arjun has. I think Arjun has. I don't think Nihal has qualified. I might be wrong about this though. Arjun does game on 3 time later. I don't think so. I think he missed Rook B5. See, if he had seen Rook B5 and how strong Rook B5 was, he would have played on. He didn't see Rook B5, and then it's the correct decision. Simple. By the way, chat, still no move from Pragg. I think this is the moment when he takes that final think, right? जो final think होता है कि okay भाई, कल Valentine's Day है, अगर आज नहीं पूछा तो single ही रहूंगा. So this is that final thing कि भाई, do I have any chance to win? अगर अभी कुछ नहीं मिला, then they will play very quickly and shake hands. अरे relatable guy, glad to have you on the stream भाई. Chat stream like करते चलो भाई. Let's get to 1K likes. नेपो also knows कि dead draw है भाई. चिल कर रहा है बंदा, देख रहा है प्रत को. पहले चेहरा कुछ चेहरा छुपा के नहीं बैठा यार. बाय द वे चैट वी अबाउट टू सी प्रग प्ले अ मूव. चैट बेसिकली ना, ये कैमरास थोड़े दूर हैं प्लेयर्स से, लाइक एज कंपेयर टू अदर टूर्नामेंट्स. So like they're zoomed out a bit. So that's why I think I prefer the full screen. जैसे नॉर्वे में कैमरा बहुत क्लोज थे, they were on the table, right? So you could see it very closely. I think ये थोड़ा दूर है. By the way, F4 played instantly. Great move by Nepo. N% हो गया है. And Chad, if anybody is better, it's black because connected pawns है. And the king is already in front of white's pawn. And there I am, Chad. Hello, hello, hello. What's up, Chad? इसी बात पे like कर दो भाई. And now full screen कर दो मेरी भाई. भाई, इससे ज्यादा फेस रिवील हम नहीं करते. हम भी माइनक्राफ्ट यूट्यूबर्स के फैन हैं. Nihal has a chance. Arvind also has a chance. I know, I know. In the last chance qualifier, and Arvind has actually qualified for a full expense paid trip via that tournament there. So yeah, I think still have a chance, but only 4 more spots, up for grabs out of 16. So as we look at this game, final few minutes here for both players. Is there a last moment trick that we'll see from Pragg or Nepo? I think both players are extremely tricky. So I will not be shocked if they have something planned, like something, last trick. But very likely a draw, chat. Very likely a draw. Round number 7. 2 more rounds to go after this. Erigesi Arjun in sole lead right now. Yeah, see, and chat, यहाँ पे simple funda है. You want a pass pawn, right? So black का perspective है, he has to push pawns very quickly. And white will also push this pawn at the right moment. The problem for white is, let's say I push g4 instantly, black can quickly come here and just attack this pawn. So the simplest way for white to draw is just to keep the king, जैसे उसने खेला अभी king e3, and just stay ready. जैसे यहाँ पे c4 d4 कुछ आएगा, I'm going to sacrifice my bishop for the 2 pawns and just draw. Simple. And Pragg knows this कि वो आ रहा है. And अगर ये pawn यहाँ नहीं होता, then black would be winning. For example, अगर ये pawn यहाँ होता ना, then maybe, okay, then also maybe a draw, but some chances for black. या यहाँ होता मान लो कुछ, like, because this pawn is here, you don't have 2 connected pass pawns, and it's not enough. It's just not enough. बी रेगुलर, आई एम रेगुलर भाई, बिल्कुल रेगुलर भाई। वीडियो आ रही है वहां पे भी। हफ्ते में एक वीडियो आएगी भाई, वहां का एक हफ्ते का एक वीडियो प्लान है, उससे तो मुश्किल लगता है, टाइम नहीं होता। वीकेंड पे वीडियो बनाता हूँ मैं, वीकेंड पे आ जाएगी भाई। चैट बाय द वे, एक काम करते हैं, वी गिव आउट मेंबरशिप्स, व्हाई डोंट वी डू अ मॉड चैलेंज टुडे? क्या बोलते हो, यस सर नो चैट? इंस्टेड ऑफ अ मेंबरशिप चैलेंज, लेट्स डू अ मॉड चैलेंज टुडे। हमारे मॉड नहीं है चैट में, हमें और चाहिए। व्हाट डू यू थिंक चैट, यस और नो? फिलहाल के लिए प्रग, नेपो, अरविंद विनिंग भाई। Okay, as of now, we have a few moves. Knight takes happened, good move. Knight takes, pawn takes, king h7, great move. Rook b7, white puts the rook opposite the king, great idea. Rook f7, unpins, great idea. Queen b2, bishop 6. So far, both players playing amazing chess. Bishop h4 check can be in the air in some cases. Um, but it's very tricky, of course. White के पास भी रुक जिसे हो सकता है. If the queen enters, can be a problem, but queen बहुत दूर है black king से. So I would still prefer Arvind here, but he's not winning yet. Not winning yet. D5 played, and as expected, he pushes the passed pawns. Bishop D3. Okay. सीक्रेट शायद रिवील नहीं हुआ है भाई. यस यस यस, मेजोरिटी यस लिख रहे हैं, हाँ. बढ़िया भाई, ठीक है. सो वील डू अ मॉड चैलेंज एग्जैक्टली इन अबाउट 2 minutes. चैट रेडी हो तो बता दो मुझे. Bishop e6 played, great move. I think white doesn't even need this pawn. I think here he will just keep it here, far away from the black king. Chat, very important. You want to keep this pawn as far away from the black king. खत्म. 30 minutes मिल गए या देव रीच द 40th मिनट, बट यहाँ पे सोचेंगे नहीं. बिकॉज कई बार ना उनको पता होता है कि डेड ड्रॉ है. सो दैट मीन्स कि भाई फिर खेलने का मतलब नहीं है. या दे विल प्ले वेरी क्विकली बिकॉज इट्स नॉट अ कॉम्प्लिकेटेड पोजिशन जहां पे इतना सोचने की जरूरत है उनको. या प्रणव वन टाइटल ट्यूसडे भाई, अमेजिंग. एंड ही finished ahead of Magnus and Hans, I think, something like that. So crazy result there. क्या होगा, एक सवाल पूछूंगा मैं चैट, द फर्स्ट पर्सन टू आंसर गेट्स मॉड. ऐसे बड़ा आसान है बिकॉज मुझे आपका आईडी भी नहीं चाहिए, सो आई कैन डायरेक्टली मेक यू मॉड देयर. द फर्स्ट पर्सन टू आंसर गेट्स मॉड. बड़ी मॉड को सैलरी नहीं मिलती भाई. सैलरी तो मुझे बेरली मिल रही है. भाई दो दो स्ट्रीम है आज भाई, गला मरने वाला है. एक बंदा कह रहा है अरविंद विनिंग, एक बंदा कह रहा है अरविंद लॉस्ट. बेसिकली चैट पे भरोसा नहीं कर सकते वैल्यूएशन के लिए. कोई ट्रिप पावर नहीं कर सकता भाई, बिकॉज आई कैन सी वट एवर लोग कर रहे हैं, एंड देन आई कैन बैन द मॉड इट सेल्फ. सो नो रिस्क देयर. मीनवाइल चैट, still nepo 6. Okay, d4 check now. King will come to d2, and यहाँ पे बिल्कुल safe है king, because you can't ever play c3. There is no way on the planet you can ever push c3 because मेरा pawn b2 पे है. Yeah, you can go this far, but that's it. इससे आगे आप नहीं जाओगे. और जब भी आप d3 खेलते हो, अगर फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने खेला बिशप p2 d3, आई जस्ट take and it's a draw. um then black can't play bishop f5 because I will take this and then white wins. So तरीका यहाँ पे कुछ आसान नहीं है. I think yeah, bishop g2 खेला I think उन्होंने. Okay, preventing king d5. I think that's the plan. And Chad, important, बिशप डी किंग डी सिक्स खेला, अगर बिशप डी फाइव खेलते हो, दिस कैन समटाइम्स इवन बी ट्रिकी फॉर ब्लैक. या समटाइम्स, नॉट हियर, बट समटाइम्स टू आइसोलेटेड पॉन्स, सेपरेटेड पॉन्स कैन बी स्ट्रॉन्गर देन टू कनेक्टेड पॉन्स. बड़ा ध्यान से कैलकुलेट करना ये. ओके, Pragg just kind of comes this way. सैलरी के चक्कर, अरे नहीं भाई, साहज भाई टूर्नामेंट खेल रहे हैं यार. Why to play Title Tuesday? Yeah, Title Tuesday के बहुत यार, it's very difficult यार. I think Title Tuesday में you cannot interact with chat. Fair play मैचेस होते हैं बहुत सारे, and then it's not fun for me. And बहुत काम भी होता है रे. उस टाइम पे यूजली कॉल्स वॉल्स भी होती हैं चेसकॉम की, तो मुश्किल रहता है टाइल ट्यूजडे में फिर रहना. वैसे भी आज तो दो दो स्ट्रिंग है भाई, आज तो वैसे भी कुछ नहीं हो सकता. किंग c5 played. Okay, king b4, so you can force c3, but I mean, yeah, I think I'll just put the bishop on e4 and it's a draw. Okay, so I don't know what Nepo is thinking. He can even start pushing the G pawn now. Like if he really wants to, say कि भाई Pragg bhai jaldi draw karo. I think that is also possible. He can just play bishop e4, I think. Also very logical. I think g4 is very logical actually यहाँ पे. King यहाँ पे and g5. Bishop f5, king c1. And there is no way black can make any progress. There is no way. Okay, he plays bishop d1, doesn't want to push the g pawn. Also works. I think b3 नहीं खेलना चाहिए दो. b3 पे c3 check आएगा. I think that's risky. Okay, यहाँ पे just to show you, I think something like this is what can lose because now I will take this pawn with the bishop. This is what you don't want to do. So I don't think Nepo is going to touch that b pawn at all. टाइम ऐड हो चुका है बाय द वे 40 मूव्स हो चुके हैं वो दिख नहीं रहा है वो जीरो के बाद दिखता है जीरो पहुंचने के बाद दिखता है साहिल भाई को लगता है वो जीत जाएंगे टाइलर से भाई नीचे से जीतने वाले की भी जीत होती है ओके आई थिंक दे आर रिपीटिंग मूव्स नाउ चैट इट्स गोना बी ड्रॉ सून बिशप e2 बिशप f7 ऐसे चल जाएगा आई थिंक और मे बी ही इज ट्राइंग टू कम हियर गॉड नोस आई डोंट थिंक देयर इज एनी होप एट ऑल मैग्नस यार आई वुड ड्रॉ दिस गेम अगेंस्ट मैग्नस just to point out, I would draw this game against Magnus Carlsen in 100 out of 100 games. So I don't think there's a chance for black to win. Very unlikely. जब भी किंग यहां घूम के आएगा, I'm going to put the king on d2 to not have any fancy stuff. And तब तक मेरा king c1 पे रहेगा. And there is no way you can win this. बुलेट चैंपियनशिप 9:30 है भाई 9:30 होगी सो डू बी देयर फॉर दैट वन एज वेल आई थिंक पहले हमारा मैच होगा निहाल का एंड मित्राबा का एंड देन फिर उसके 1 घंटे बाद होगा आई थिंक अर्जुन का बिकॉज अर्जुन वॉज प्लेइंग दिस तो उसका मैच थोड़ा लेट रखा है one look at the Arvind game meanwhile rook g1 played by white nice move rook g6 could be a threat so Arvind now 14 minutes to play 12 moves एंड ओपन क्या 7 मिनट है भाई 11 चल के नहीं वेरी वेरी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड अर्जुन का कॉलर भी उठ चुका है भाई ही इज दैट इनटू द गेम कोई ध्यान नहीं भाई बट आई होप ही विंस दिस वन सुपर इंपॉर्टेंट गेम विल कम बैक टू दिस एज सून एज द Pragg गेम एंड्स बट या सुपर इंपॉर्टेंट गेम फॉर अरविंद राइट नाउ हाँ चैट क्वेश्चन के लिए तैयार हो मोर क्वेश्चन के लिए यस लिख दो एक बार सब इफ यू आर रेडी बाद में बंदा बोलेगा कि भाई बताया नहीं आपने बहुत चीज भाई ओवर द इयर्स ना चैट ने बहुत बहाने मारे हैं भाई भाई इतने इतने बहाने मारे हैं तो मैं पहले रेडी हमेशा पूछता हूँ मित्रों अच्छा खेलता है इज अ स्ट्रॉन्ग प्लेयर इज ऑल्सो स्ट्रीमर चेसकॉम स्ट्रीमर प्रोग्राम में भी है वो एंड इफ यू वांट टू बी अ चेसकॉम इंडियन स्ट्रीमर भाई आप बन सकते हो किंग d2 ओके वेरी सेफ also I think the idea is कि भाई if you play c3 I'm going to take with the pawn and not allow you to take with the king I think that's the idea of king d2 for example अगर मैं bishop e2 खेलता हूँ c3 takes this is also a draw but I think Nepo wants to avoid this scenario maybe that's the idea and king d2 very very safe बुलेट स्ट्रीम करेंगे भाई बिल्कुल करेंगे तो चैट रेडी है तो सवाल इनकमिंग इन द नेक्स्ट मिनट द फर्स्ट मॉड चैलेंज चैट इन अ लॉन्ग वाइल स्टे रेडी ठीक है रेडी रहना कभी भी आ सकता है कभी भी आ सकता है सवाल देख रहा हूं मैं कॉलर उठ चुका है व्हाट डज इट मीन अरे मतलब कि यार यू नो ही इज लॉस्ट सेंस ऑफ आई थिंक इज फुली फोकस्ड इन द गेम लाइक यूजुअली पीपल आर लाइक फोकस्ड ऑन हाउ दे लुक राइट ऑन कैमरा बट वो चला गया वो सीन अब ने पूछ लाइक ये कब खत्म होगा भाई तेरे को बुलेट चेस चैंपियनशिप नहीं खेलना है मुझे भी नहीं खेलना है इसका मतलब थोड़ी है कि हम बैठे रहेंगे 4 4 घंटा Param game, by the way, chat. Nodirbek is close to. Nodirbek is winning against Param. So, chat, I think Nodirbek might take sole lead with 2 rounds to go. So, super important, Pragg's game against Nodirbek. Because Nodirbek sole lead लेंगे, Arjun आधा point पीछे होंगे. We'll go to the game of Pragg again. Let's see what happens there. Yeah, Param is losing now. By the way, chat, bishop e8. He's trying to, but I don't think he should exchange bishops actually. Because bishop c2, bishop a4, like this takes, even this, yeah, g4. I don't want to calculate this. b2, king b2, g6. Okay, you can do this, but it's also a draw. King c1 played. And now bishop a4, I think I can also ignore actually. I'm not forced to do anything. I don't want to be what I can. Of course, you can answer by उसमें क्या है? चैट मेरा सवाल है, ठीक है, रेडी हो? सवाल इनकमिंग. सो वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप आप लोगों ने देखा ही होगा, राइट? सो वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप में जब पीक व्यूअरशिप आई थी, आई थिंक इट वाज 2 lakh combined, like both all channels. I think it was 2,25,000, 23, 27,000, something like that. Who was the comedian on panel on that day? We are not counting Samay here. Who was the comedian on the panel on that day? That's the mod challenge for today, भाई. जो पहले आंसर करेगा he wins mod. Yes, it was. सागर भाई को भाई, सागर भाई अच्छा है, ह्यूमरस है, बट कॉमेडियंस में सागर भाई नहीं आएंगे ना, प्रोफेशनल कॉमेडियंस नहीं है. अब मैं तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं भाई, नहीं बलराज भी नहीं. आई थिंक इट वाज बिस्वा कल्याण रथ, ही वाज द कॉमेडियन. एंड आकर्षक भाई ने, आई थिंक स्पेलिंग गलत लिखी है, बट आई थिंक ही इज प्रीटी फेयर. आई थिंक ही मेंशनड इट फर्स्ट. सो आकर्षक राज भाई, आप बनते हैं आज के मॉडरेटर भाई. चलो भाई, डन. आज का मॉड चेंज हो गया. अब चैट आपके हाथ में है. यू नो व्हाट, वी कैन मेक अनदर मॉड. अगर आप 1,000 लाइक पहुंच जाओ भाई, एंड चैट आपको अपना डिफरेंट दिखेगा, बिकॉज व्हेन यू टाइप एंड व्हेन इट रीचेज द सर्वर देयर इज अ लैग देयर. सो दूसरे बंदे ने आपसे पहले लिखा है, ओनली आई कैन सी द करेक्ट ऑर्डर ऑन द बैक एंड. मीनवाइल चैट 1,000 लाइक पे एक और मॉड चैलेंज करेंगे, तो जल्दी से स्ट्रीम लाइक कर दो भाई, जल्दी स्ट्रीम लाइक कर दो. एक और चैलेंज करेंगे चैट, जल्दी करो भाई, आपके हाथ में है. And Biswa Kalyanrath is the correct answer. He was the comedian on panel on that day. King C1 played, by the way, and now chat C3 I think aane wala hai. Pragg will play it now and we will draw the game. Arvind's really having a nightmare this tournament. I mean, he can change it today, by the way. Today could be the saving grace for Arvind. We'll come back to the game pretty soon. I think this is about to end in the next minute or so. And then we'll go to Arvind's game. Okay, C3 played. Yep, the game is about to end. And king takes hoga, and now just bishop e2, and it's a draw chat. Yep, I think ek bar he will try bishop d3, maybe he will try, but even bishop d3 actually, even this is a draw actually. So I don't see any chances, to be honest. I think he will just play d3 and they will shake hands. Yeah, it's a draw chat in the next 1 minute. Yeah, d3 played. He has to take that pawn. Bishop takes d3. King takes d3. Now the black king will walk. Brilliancy क्यों है भाई? That's okay. I mean, maybe a brilliancy there. अभी draw. Arbiter आई. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. भाई भाई, that was crazy. क्या moment था भाई? Did you see chat? Arbiter came in, said okay, about to draw. Nepo says no. What draw are you talking about? I still have a pawn there. मेरे पास pawn है भाई. I can win this. That was hilarious. Pragg also laughed, Nepo also laughs, and that is a draw chat. That is another draw. So I think 2 Indians getting draws today. Arjun draws, Pragg draws. Now let's go to the Arvind game, the only remaining game, because Arvind is apparently winning. A mistake by Sindarov under time pressure. 3 minute clock पे यहां हम छोड़े थे, और यहां आया भाई bishop g5, great move, blocking the rook. मारा, pawn से मारा, and now king d2. Rook f1 was the only move. King d2, a big mistake by Sindarov. Will Arvind get his first win of the tournament today, chat? Will India get 2 points in total? Oh, king h6, not the best move. That's a bad move apparently, and now queen b6. White is slightly better. क्या चल रहा है भाई? कुछ भी चल रहा है chat. Both players, by the way, 13 minutes for Arvind. He has more time on the clock, but only 3 minutes. And queen b6 खेलने वाला है white. अरे यार, white ने best चाल खेल दी. I think he had a golden opportunity, chat. The idea was to play g4 ताकि queen को रास्ता मिले. If queen b6 now, he would have queen g5 check. How did Arvind miss that? Queen e3 possible nahi hai because of rook c2 check. And how did Arvind miss g4? I have no clue. I mean, that makes so much sense once you see queen g5 check. How did Arvind miss that? I am genuinely shocked he missed g4 actually, unless there are some complications there which my pickle brain can't see. But I think that is an obvious move. What? What? That is a big blunder. Why would you trade queens here? That makes no sense. Wait, does he have a plan? Because chat, white's king is okay. d6 mar raha hai. Queen f6 pe there is rook d7. Hey, rook d7, rook f1 is winning actually, not rook d7. मैं भी hallucinate कर रहा हूँ भाई. Queen f8 apparently was okay, not an easy move to find. The queen f8 was the only move because d6 was also hanging. That was the problem, chat. D6 was also hanging. That's why I think g4 was so much required. And now Arvind is again losing. Oh no, he's losing the game. Chat. Oh, he is distraught now. Look at him. He is super angry. Like he's not angry, he's sad. It's just lost. Oh, that's heartbreaking. That's the problem with chess, chat. You can play a fabulous game, but last में you can just lose. वह भाई Indian commentator क्या है भाई, literally इकलौती moves खेल रहे हैं. Like G4 was the winning move भाई. G4 was the winning move, I think. The idea is भाई G4 के बाद you wanna not here actually here. G4 के बाद you wanna attack the white king. That was the goal भाई. That was the goal. And I think, of course, you sacrifice something. For example, bishop g4 यहाँ मारते हो तो oh, this wasn't easy actually. Now I see it. Chad, okay, that was impossible actually. Because g4 के बाद bishop g4, I thought it's queen g5, but that's a mistake. Because king d3 के बाद there are no more checks. And my bishop is pinned, unfortunately. Oh, it wasn't easy at all actually. Not at all. Because आपको bishop g4 के बाद g4 बिशप जी फोर के बाद किंग h8 खेलना है. ओके, दैट इज इम्पॉसिबल. Then Arvind, I think, just had a difficult position, man. This is heartbreaking. And now Rook d6. Look at this move. Beautiful sacrifice. Rook takes d6. Rook d6. Rook f8. And now Arvind is just lost. And now he plays g4, but I think it's too little too late. Yeah. Rook d8 now. Pins the bishop. Oh, it's game over. Is this game over actually? He's not a new player, by. I think that was incredibly difficult. I think I underestimated how easy that was. That was very difficult to find, almost impossible to find. Impossible to find that idea of, g4 and then king h8. Just a harsh position, and I think Sindar is going to win this game now. It's over. This is the current position chart, and the problem is, I mean, I have pinned your bishop. I'm threatening bishop b5 or bishop g4. You cannot stop both. You can play king g5 and stop this, but I'm going to play bishop b5, bishop takes, rook takes, and this is your pawn is nothing. Yeah, I mean king h5, king e3, g3, king f3, and we resign. Chat, we are going to see resignation from Arvind, and this was just a heartbreaking loss. And this will be his third loss in the event. So it's been 3 draws and 3 losses. And wait, how's it? It's been, wait, I'm checking Sindarov's. Yeah, it's been 4 draws and 2 losses so far. So it's really 4 draws and 3 losses. Yeah, you see him heartbroken. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. Sindarov will lead the event. Really? I'm checking the standings. Yep, Sindharo will join Arjun in the lead, but I think Nodrbek will cross them both today. So we'll have like a final look at the Nodrbek game before we end the stream. But ये game to over है भाई. I think Bishop G4, Bishop B5, and there is simply no defense. There is simply no defense here. Maybe G3 is one, yeah. Like G3 because now if you play Bishop G4, Black wins. So I think G3 is the last move for Arvind. But I can just bring the rook back, win this pawn. I really don't see why it should be a big deal. G3, King E3 as well, actually. Yeah, G2, King F2. This is completely gone. Arvind had time. Yeah, but the thing is, Chad, जो move थी ना, I agree with you actually. First time I'm going to say I think Arvind should have thought of what to do because he had time here and he should have understood कि यार Queen B6 अगर आ रहा है, I will have no choice but to trade and the end game cannot be better for me. I need to get to the king and king तक पहुंचने का G4 is the best move. But I think G4, Bishop G4, King H8 is so difficult. But the thing is, even Queen F6 is decent actually. It maintains some chances. It's a draw actually. So I think he should have found it. I think he should have found it. Like there is no other alternative. Yeah, and he plays H5, but now Bishop B5 just wins. Yeah, Bishop B5, G3. Okay, Rook D7 is actually lost. I think. So wait, how is White winning this? Okay, Bishop D7. Yeah, because G2 पे there is Bishop E8 check. अरे बाप रे. Yep, I think one last trap from Arvind. Bishop B5 के बाद one Arvind. राकेश भाई आ तो गए आप लेकिन आई थिंक यू ओनली कमिंग इन एट द रॉन्ग मोमेंट बिकॉज गेम ओवर होने वाली है.
आई नो मतलब थोड़ा गेम्स देख के आने चाहिए थे, बट क्या ही कर सकते हैं.
भाई अरविंद losing another game Rakesh. I mean I
या
and he's going to drop down to a rating of 2727 something like that.
एंड ही
27228 maybe.
स्टार्टेड विद 2747, मतलब ऑलमोस्ट 20 पॉइंट का
Yeah.
ड्रॉप इन दिस
And
टूर्नामेंट.
also world number 24. He's right next to Vidit now. And I think it's going to be a heartbreaking day for Arvind because Aj he genuinely had a chance. He had a chance to win. And Rakesh, this was the moment. Anybody joining in, this was the moment when he had King D2 was a mistake. Rakesh, by how difficult this is. Yeah, G4, idea Queen G5 winning the game, Bishop G4, and now King H8 the winning move. Very difficult, yeah.
Yeah, like you always want to get your king forward, so थोड़ा एंटी ह्यूमन है किंग को पीछे लेके जाना. But with 15 minutes on the clock and player of Arvind's caliber, I think that is what ये 2700 के players को यही थोड़ा differentiate करता है, right? Like
Huh.
than the other folks.
And he
But of
also
course
had
we
time.
have the exactly ऐसा नहीं कि 10 अभी भी 10 मिनट है. So at
हाँ
that point
हाँ.
I'm guessing at least 15-20 मिनट
Yeah.
थे. And
Yeah.
you know we really hope this he would have found this idea, because I think it makes sense ना, क्योंकि G4 के वरना that Queen G5 check is opening up, right?
Exactly.
हाँ, so
Exactly.
that is a big threat. And
Yeah.
normally you don't you want that pawn to kind of shield your king, but
Hmm.
this was the moment because I think उसके पहले King D2 was also a mistake by Sindaro.
Yeah.
But sadly, Tiku bhai, Pragg and Arjun drawing, Arvind losing, इसका मतलब राउंड 5 और राउंड 6 और राउंड 7 में 0 wins for the Indians. This is
Yeah.
very rare.
And also the point is that it's an immediate consequence, right? King D2 पे दिख रहा है कि
हाँ,
check आ रहा है. G4, you have to justify it somehow. Let's say आपने King H, Bishop G4 पे, you don't have to play King H8. Queen F6 is also a draw. Then Rook C7 is also a draw. So regardless, there are multiple ways to at least maintain a draw and an attacking position. So I think Arvind, at least for this game, I think has himself to blame. I think he had the time, he had the position, and I think King D2 should have started ringing alarm bells in his head कि something can be done. And उसके बाद White ने मौका ही नहीं दिया भाई. उसके बाद तो बिल्कुल Queen
correct.
G6, Queen trade and perfect game खेली White ने उसके बाद.
Yeah, and you can see भाई हमारे ऊपर like Arvind is just distraught.
Yeah.
मतलब ये अभी of course Bishop B5 के बाद it's lost. वो ये नहीं
Yeah.
कैलकुलेट करा कि अभी क्या क्या करना चाहिए. He's
I think
actually thinking कि क्या मैं कर सकता था.
Yeah, and last trap है Rook D7 नहीं मार सकते because Rook D7 Bishop takes G2 wins. But of course
हाँ हाँ.
सिंधारोव मैं थोड़ी हूँ भाई उसने Bishop D7 मार दिया. And now G2 पे there is Bishop E8 check.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. And the point being, you just and he plays it.
Yeah.
And मान लीजिए अगर आप King G5 खेलोगे, saying
Rakesh भाई, I will even take the Rook.
capture
I
my
will take the Rook. Yeah, you can take the Rook
exactly,
G2 queens and
exactly.
now check. Wow. Ah,
So
man.
this is just, I think, game over, and I think resignation incoming. I actually joined in at the wrong time, but that's a
By the way,
bad day for Team India
yeah.
yet again.
Yeah, by the way, Arvind resigns and he had set up a trap there. Ki bishop e8 check, rook g6, Mara, king h6, and now the only move is bishop f7 because g1 queens आपने किया तो rook h8 check, king g5 and rook g8, and he resigns, and that is the third loss in 7 games for Arvind. It will be heartbreaking, and I hope he recovers. But Rakesh भाई इस tournament recover करना बड़ा मुश्किल होगा. I think at least he should try to be stable and get a couple of draws if a win under his belt, but
Yeah,
this will be a tournament where he will have a lot of lessons to take back home.
for sure. And many lessons learned, and not easy when you are almost one of the top seeds. 2-7, 4-7
Yeah,
के साथ आ रहे थे आप. And I think he should try and make a comeback. I don't know Arvind का next tournament क्या है,
yeah.
but yeah, definitely things to improve. And kudos to Sundarov. कल बहुत अच्छा game defend किया against Arjun, and
Hmm.
today with the white pieces on his home ground, he's in fact even beaten Nepo. So Sundarov is actually doing great in this tournament.
He's in the lead right now. And I think
Yeah,
before
yeah,
we end, should have one look. Aaj Bullet Chess Championship be a chat at 9:30. So do not forget that. So before we leave,
correct.
one look at Noderbek's game, who is
He's winning.
completely.
He's winning.
Yeah, there you see the
Yeah.
graphic there. Arjun, Nehal, Mitraba, 3 Indians battling it out. One look at this game, Rakesh Bhai. Looks like it's over. Exchange up whom hai, pawn at 6 pe hai. This just feels like it should be over anytime soon. Yeah, and Noderbek will take sole lead.
Yeah, yeah, Nodelbeck bouncing back, from that difficult game. I think he draw हुआ था कल, he didn't lose, but still with the white pieces, and 2 games to go, I think, and so lead. So I think we should expect Nodelbeck winning this one. जिसका मतलब ये भी है टिको भाई कि Pragg won't get the points for FIDE candidates, and Nodelbeck is also getting those important points there.
But you know what? Pragg can really make sure Nodrbek ko bhi na mile because Pragg is playing Nodrbek in the last round. So he directly controls his own fate.
Oh,
And
yeah,
not to forget, Chad, before we, I mean, Arvind is still sitting, Rakesh Bhai. Reminds you, Gukesh, yeah, sitting after the last round at Norway. Like you don't feel like getting up only. Can we go full screen, Niribhai? Like it's heartbreaking to watch. Um, I mentioned right because sometimes you get outplayed, sometimes you lose on time, whatever. But when you are winning, right, when you know you should win that game, you lose. That's why you saw Carlson's reaction against Gukesh, and that's why you see the biggest reaction for Arvind. He's not able to get up from his chair, Rakesh.
they're very similar. Editors are actually happy because Gukesh and Arvind have this very similar reaction. Gukesh had this same reaction in Norway chess. And Tiku, yeah, I absolutely agree. He knew he was winning. So that is what that's why that's what makes this loss even more difficult. And Tiku, I think there was a great comment in the chat. Oh, but I think it's actually difficult to play 3 rating tournaments in a month. So, मतलब
Oh,
Arvind के लिए
wow.
कह रहे थे. And I think, yeah, that might have kind of affected him. But I think lots of people in the chat also saying Arvind will bounce back in the tournament,
Yeah,
in the next tournament. So he's definitely gained some fans, and it's probably one of the first or few tournaments we get to cover of Arvind. So
yeah.
hopefully we see many more wins, Tiku.
I think this is the moment when maybe he can take a pause, go back to the drawing board, see where he went wrong, right? Because he's still a very strong player, and I think 27, 28, 29 rating जो उनकी है, that still keeps
हाँ.
him in the world top 23. So he's still one of the top players in the world. And I think this is the moment when you want to up your game to the next level, if there is a level. And I think he'll go back. He has an amazing team with him, Rakesh Bhai, the same coach as Pragg, RB Ramesh, and other coaches as well who will help him out. But I think, of course, abhi 2 games to go. He has to control his emotions as well as he can and then try to strike back. And if he can get a win under his belt, right, all's well that ends well. अगर final 2 round में एक win भी मिल गई तो that'll give him some confidence there.
For sure, for sure, and then suddenly वो 20 point नहीं, that 2728 becomes 2735 के आसपास.
Yeah, yeah,
Suddenly just 10 points, he feels manageable. But I think वो
yeah.
2730 के आसपास तो Arvind should try to
You
get
know,
there. And do we have the standings to go by chance?
yeah. We can have the standings. जाके फिर थोड़ा डर लग रहा है मुझे because you know who Arvind plays tomorrow, who's at the bottom. By the way, Samshidin Wokidov, I think is winning, so Arvind might be at the bottom of the table after this round. But we
Oh,
can see Arjun
what?
and
Really?
Sindarov on top, and Nodirbek will go on the top with 5 points with 2 rounds to go. And chat tomorrow, Arvind plays the incredibly precise Richard Rapport.
And Arjun in the last round.
Arjun in the
Not
last
easy
round.
pairing.
I'm going to
Not
be
easy
honest,
pairings for
Arvind.
Arvind.
I think if he can get 2 draws in the final 2 rounds, he should be very happy with it and kind of take home what he has and just work on his chess now. Whatever he has to improve, whatever flaws were remaining, I think he has to. He should final round loss nahi hona chahiye. If he loses any of the remaining 2 rounds, right, then it really gets even worse and worse, and you start tilting. So I hope he can draw the remaining two games. And meanwhile, chat Nodirbek, of course, as we can see on the board on the right, is gearing up to take first place there. And Kalki pairings chat. It's going to be Pragg against Arjun.
Oh my
What an
God.
important match, Rakesh bhai. Kya crazy matchup hai kal.
Yeah, I think this is going to be our featured matchup. And, two Indian stars both have, played decent chess. But Arjun in the reckoning for first place. Pragg, after two
Yeah,
losses, making a draw, getting back on the horse there.
yeah,
But, Pragg can also define the champion. क्योंकि देखो भाई, he plays Arjun tomorrow and Nodirbek in the last round. तो Pragg
yeah.
basically decide करेगा कि कौन टूर्नामेंट जीतने वाला है.
If he actually wins both, he can still win this event. Actually, I still feel there's a
True,
okay.
true.
So, बहुत chances there, and of course, Nodirbek plays Nepo tomorrow with Black. So Nepo could potentially beat Nodirbek, and then the tournament is again wide open, right? So anything can happen. Chat. As Arvind still not getting up, Nodirbek has also won, and he is
बहुत बुरा
now
लग रहा है
number
यार.
one in the standings. He's not able to get up, Rakesh bhai. That's so painful. Imagine the
Chat, can
pain.
we have Arvind OP? मतलब please,
हाँ यार, एक बार बनता है.
just sending some love and support for Arvind.
Yeah.
Like,
Chat, I think basically when you are doing well, everything supports you. I think support तो तब चाहिए होता है ना जब कोई things अच्छी नहीं जा रही. क्यों राकेश भाई?
true, true. And comment in the chat like Tata Steel Arjun. If Arvind can beat Abdu in the penultimate round, that could make the tournament wide open. Yeah, yeah, true. But again, Abdu is playing Nepo, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yeah,
there
I
you go,
think
like RG and many people saying Arvind OP because it's such a difficult loss. Now we can still see भाई 5 मिनट हो गए शायद गेम को.
yeah. Yeah, and chat, you know what? Tomorrow he plays Rapport, who has literally played like an engine in the last 2 rounds.
Hmm.
Today against Arjun
Hmm.
and yesterday against Pragg, and both for Indians. So let's hope so. Tomorrow Arvind can cause an upset there and defeat the strong Richard Rapport. So Arvind OP for sure. And Rakesh Bhai, I think it's time to say goodbye and wishing luck to Arvind there, and of course Pragg and Arjun as well. And especially Arjun there because he still has to play the Bullet Chess Championship. Can we have our faces on the screen again, Niri Bhai, me and Rakesh? Rakesh Bhai, मजा आने
Correct.
वाला है. Bullet Chess Championship. It's going to be amazing. Let's see who wins. Who is the fastest chess player on the planet apart from, let's say, Hikaru Magnus?
Yeah, वो तो है like Piyusha starting off one of the top seeds, but yeah, Arjun दिन में classical खेलना रात को bullet. It's going to be very very interesting, but yeah, hopefully we will have our Indian stars Arjun, Nihal, and Mitraba there going all the way. Hopefully, Tekubai. And yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's 6 p.m. is our sorry 6 p.m. It's 9:30 is our stream, right?
yeah. 9:30
9:30 is
इधर
our
आके थोड़ा
match.
5 मिनट पहले आ जाएंगे chat. So thank you for joining chat today. Overall, I think a decent day for Indians. Only Arvind kind of getting the hard end of the stick.
Hmm.
Hopefully he comes back. Thank you, Rakesh Bhai. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Niri Bhai. We'll see you at 9:30 p.m. today with the Bullet Chess Championship. Bye bye, chat. Take care and good night.